And we are live, man. What's going on, everybody? It is Set and Key Media back in the house, man. On this Wednesday afternoon, you got Key in here, your favorite big four-headed YouTuber, man. And we back with more content for y'all. Man, last night was something, wasn't it? So we got a recap for y'all today. I got some special videos lined up for y'all. We're going to start off the stream with the highlights of last night. Both sides had a lot to say after the debate. They were both at the 9/11 memorial today. We'll check that out as well. But we're going to get right into the stream, man. But before we do, y'all know the vibes. Make sure to like the video, double tap the screen, show some support to the stream. Let's do it.
She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit.
We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country. First of all, they bought their chips.
And I ain't gonna say too much, y'all. Let's just recap
we hardly
from
make
yesterday.
chips anymore.
Make sure to like the video on the way in.
Philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy.
Kamala.
If she ever got elected, she'd change it, and it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say, they have to hate our country.
Trump. Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. If you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term.
See, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who...
Yo. Just stay delayed. Damn. Like the video on the way in, y'all. Let's get as many people as we can in here.
And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you
the screen, y'all.
with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it.
Infectious smile.
Because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective.
Gosh dang. Now, we got almost 200 or so of y'all in here right now. So make sure to like the video on the way in. Double tap the screen. Let's get as many folks in here on today's conversation because I got a lot to say. Right? So like and share the video. I'm about to cook up for y'all. Let's load up the next video. Let's get that going. Yeah. It's going to be a fire stream. So I'll tell y'all why I entitled the video Trump lost and Kamala won. Now, as you guys know, if you're new to the channel here, we try and keep it as impartial, nonpartisan as we can. But this time around, this election, I just so happen to be a Trump supporter over a Kamala supporter, right? I have my reasons why, but it just so happens I think he's the better candidate for the next 4 years. But last night, I will tell you the litany of mistakes that Trump made and the L's he took and the dubs that Kamala ultimately took and why I think it was more of a dub than an L for Trump. Do I think he still ultimately wins in November? Yes, but I will tell you guys what I think were his biggest flaws last night. So the first thing I noticed last night was the handshake, right? I've always praised Trump on being a gentleman. A politician has his respect factor all the way up. He's able to be respected in many rooms. So Kamala coming up to him and having to kind of force the handshake wasn't a good look for somebody who carries himself as a gentleman. And, we know Trump to be a gentleman. So him having to do that wasn't really a good look. I think that was like the first knock on him, like her approaching him for the handshake. He wasn't going to do it if she hadn't approached him too. So that wasn't a great look. Me personally, he should have initiated the handshake as the man, as the gentleman, and it should have went like that. It could have been a more fair debate, but it just kind of looked like he didn't really want that for whatever reason. It just wasn't a good look on Trump, right? And it's the gentlemanly thing to do as well. Like, she's a female, I'm a man. Let me greet her. Let me set the tone for the debate. It's going to be a fair, honest debate. And let's start it off with the handshake. It's kind of like touching gloves at the beginning of a boxing match. Like, yeah, we about to fuck each other up, but respect, right? So that's my first point. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree with me in the chat. We got over 200 of y'all in here. Like the video on the way in, man. Like I said, I'm about to cook up. So as well as if you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation, thoughts, comments, questions, super chat in $1 or more, man. Let's make it engaging. If you're new to the channel, that's how we like to have it here. So don't be afraid to speak up. So one of the biggest things that I think was a knock on Trump as well was he really didn't go as hard as you normally see him go. Like, if you were to play back Trump's 2020 election, his 2016 election, he was more he was more on the attack. He had more to say about politicians, the media. He really didn't mince words. He really didn't hold his tongue. That's what kind of garnered the support for Trump. That's what garnered most of his base, was the fact that he really didn't hold his tongue. He wasn't a traditional politician, and he came across how he wanted to come across. He was a little bit abrasive, and that's what people liked about him. So I think he kind of toned that down. I'm not sure if that was what his advisors kind of coached him to do beforehand. It seemed that may be the case, but he toned that down, and I think it was to a fault, because that's what people know and love about Trump, is that he doesn't really come with the traditional politician, energy, right? He brings a little bit of that unorthodox, in your face, boom, I'm gonna say what I want, and he didn't really have that element going for him last night. So I think that was a knock on him. He also allowed her to kind of skate on the immigration policy. Everybody knows that Kamala has supposed to have been in charge of the border. Some people say no, some people say yes, but the nickname Border Czar sticks with her regardless, right? So he really didn't hone in on that point as much as I would have liked to see him do so. He really could have roasted her on that point alone, kind of hung his hat on that, really. and that would have been a major dub for him. But for whatever reason, he kind of let her slide past that and other points. Like I said, he wasn't really as on the attack as you normally see Trump. Like, he kind of was a little bit toned down, a little bit more reserved than you normally see him in that element. But yeah, he didn't really hit her on the immigration as much as I would have liked to see him do so. He kind of honed in on it, but he really could have drilled in on that point a lot more. As well as, like I said, he's renowned for his shit talk, really, right? Going at the media, going at other candidates. But he really didn't attack the mods as much as you really would have wanted him to see as well, or attack Kamala. Like, I don't know, maybe that's what I like about Trump, and maybe I'm toxic for that. But him calling out the media directly, him calling out opponents directly, yeah, some people love it, some people hate it, but that's what makes Trump Trump. So we didn't really see him in that form, in that mode last night, and I think that hurt him more than helped him. Like, again, I think it might have been a part of his coaching to kind of dial that back, because yeah, Kamala being a woman, yeah, you want to come across as nice, you want to swing some of her voters, and you don't want to do that by being too abrasive, but that's what we know and love about Trump, and it's what makes him him. So he kind of needed to bring that flair, and it was lacking last night. And again, you can love Trump, love him or hate him, love Kamala or hate her. It doesn't matter. Let's get as many people in here on the conversation as possible, because that's what it's all about, is being able to host these conversations and this discourse. So aside from that, I think that he allowed Kamala to distract him. There was a point in time where Kamala was asked about, what was it? So Harris moved to the rally sizes to avoid the topic about immigration. So he was supposed to hold her to that point. He was supposed to really pin down on that point, but he kind of allowed her to get in his head a little bit, do a little bit of the reverse psychology by talking about his rallies. And you know he loves his rallies. Rather than him honing and holding her down to that point about the immigration, he kind of got sidetracked and distracted, almost trolled by Kamala. And it was kind of masterful. I'm not sure if that was a part of her plan or she was advised to do that, but she really kind of had him there, because he really was supposed to be honing in on certain points, and she was able to distract him and get him talking about other things and make him lose focus on, you know, what was really important, what he really should have been saying in that moment. Aside from that, I think there were some major wins for Trump. A few being he told her, or he mentioned that, you know, all these issues, all these things that you're running on, campaigning on, if you really feel so strongly about them, fix them now. You're in office now. You got direct line to Joe. Why don't y'all put in the word, sign in the executive order to kind of fix some of the stuff that is failing America now? And I think that was a good point. Like, yeah, you're saying if you get in office, you'll fix these things, but who's been in office these last 4 years? Who still has the keys to the car? You guys could have did something. You guys can still do something. It's kind of funny to think that you're out here saying you'll fix immigration, you're going to get the economy right, and those are the major issues plaguing America right now. So if anybody's to fix them, who better than the current administration? That was a solid point. He held her on the meeting up with Putin. She couldn't even answer that. She named that she had met up with Zelensky over 5 times. That's all fine and dandy, but at the same time, Putin is still a formidable foe. He is still a major player on the world scale. To not show this man the due respect is kind of what's gotten us in the situation that we're in now with Russia and Ukraine. And that's kind of what Trump alluded to, you know, him having a relationship with Putin. No, they're not best buddies. No, they're not best friends. But Trump alluded to him having a relationship with Putin being the catalyst to, or being the answer to kind of ending this proxy that we're in with Ukraine and Russia. So I think another major dub for Trump was disavowing Project 2025, right, clear, on the public stage, public forum for everybody to see. You know, Dems have attached that to him for as long as they can, or as long as they could have. But last night he kind of came out and said, nah, like, I ain't doing that. That's not me. I'm disavowing that. That's a think tank. The Heritage Foundation is a privatized independent group. We've disavowed, or we've debunked that on stream like a couple of times, for real. Pulled that right up for y'all. It's right on their website. They're not aligned with Trump. Trump said it multiple times. He got his own agenda, Agenda 47, if you're not aware, and it's on his own personal website. So as well as the abortion ban, he's not for abortion ban. He just kind of wants to return the decision to the states, which makes more sense culturally and geographically, because somebody from Texas is going to feel different from abortion than somebody from California, right? And so on and so forth. So he came out and said that he's not for an abortion ban. He also said that grape, incest, and danger to the mother's health or life would be reasons that he would be for an abortion in any case and scenario, which is something that people on both sides of the political spectrum can agree on. So he really kind of was able to, I feel like in that, by explaining himself there, he was able to kind of sway some people who were against him because of his stance on abortion, as well as IVF, right? He said that he mentioned in an interview with Tulsi Gabbard that he was for the government paying for it or working something out with insurance companies for that to be covered for people who needed that treatment. So he did have some dubs last night, right? It wasn't all doom and gloom for Trump, but it were just certain points I feel like he really should have honed in on, really beat Kamala over the head with, so to speak, and he would have been able to have a more convincing victory. Now, for Kamala, I will say these were some dubs for Kamala, right? And if, y'all always try and say we MAGA, we Trump, but we try and keep it fair, man. We try and keep it fair, nonpartisan, impartial on both sides. So these are some dubs that I noticed for Kamala. She did well, right? 90-minute debate, was able to kind of hold her own, go back and forth with Trump, distract them from some points, and was earpiece aside, word salad aside. It's kind of funny because the knock on her is, oh, it's word salad, but that's what her base likes to hear. She really doesn't have to too deeply explain anything because the word salad is exactly that. It's still food. It still gives you something to gnaw on. No, it's not really nutrient dense. Right? Word salad, what is salad made a part of? 99% water, right? So it's not nutrient dense. It really doesn't have too much substance, but it's enough for her base to kind of be like, oh, okay, she's saying something. I like that. I like what I'm hearing. So that was a dub for her. 90-minute long form format, was able to still hold her own. She stuttered and stumbled a few times, but it really didn't look too bad. That was a surprising dub for her. So we got to give her that. She was able to frustrate and distract Trump, like I said, when he was asked about rally size, or she was asked about immigration, and she was able to shift the topic to rally size. And Trump, rallies being personal to him, him almost getting assassinated at one, for crying out loud, that was able to kind of distract him, and he was obviously frustrated when explaining that point as well. So she was kind of able to get him off his knocker on that one. And this isn't just me, right? So I've, obviously pay attention to the news cycle, media cycle, what goes on. A lot of Trump supporters are saying like, nah, he had points in that debate where he lost. Kamala had obvious highlights in that debate where, she was able to get the better of him. So I personally think that as far as a second debate, I think that they could both benefit from one. Because if you say Kamala won, she could really do him dirty in the second one, kind of clean up some of the things that she wasn't able to perfectly execute in the first debate. And then if you say Trump lost, he can kind of come back in the second debate and do her dirty like how he should have done. Or if you say Trump won the first one, he could really do her filthy in the second one. So I think a second debate should be facilitated either way. That's kind of what everybody wants to see anyway, right? But personally, like I said, for me last night, Trump, he's still going to win in November. That's my personal take. Y'all can debate me on that if you want to. But there was some things that he could have cleaned up on last night, some moments in that debate where Kamala got the best of him. One of the most goofy ones being, and this leads us to the next video, y'all. So Trump wanted to talk about the dogs and cats being eaten up in Springfield, right? Right. So for those of y'all that know, S.E.T Media based in Columbus, Ohio. Springfield, Ohio is about 45 minutes west from us. There ain't no dogs and cats being ate up in Springfield, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, right? So funny enough, there is another story out of another city in Ohio, Canton, Ohio, where a cat was eaten, but it wasn't the Haitian immigrants in Springfield. Now, there is a population of Haitian immigrants in Springfield. We're going to get into a video that kind of covers that, but he kind of made himself seem a little bit silly last night. I watched my words on it last night because I really hadn't done too much deep diving into the topic. I just kind of seen the headlines, and like a lot of y'all, I was kind of just like, what the hell? Like, cats and dogs, what the hell? I really didn't even bother looking into it. So it was crazy when I got on the debate and Trump is talking about it. This is a fresh ass story, and we already know how these viral social media stories tend to circulate. Like, a lot of times you gotta kind of wait for the smoke to clear to verify it. So it was funny, and it was a little bit weird, and it was a little bit of bad strategy for Trump to mention that last night. But shout out Darth Mauler. Yo, we appreciate that $5 super chat, man. Let me get you a Don DeMarco, my guy. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, dog. My man said, aside from politics, Trump definitely won the election from that bullet. Yeah, and I say, aside from the debate last night, Trump definitely won the election. Yeah, so aside from the debate I think what he meant to say, aside from the debate last night, yeah, Trump is still going to win in November. I agree. I think that it was, like I said, it was certain points where Trump could have held her to the point, drilled her on certain points a little bit more. But I do think that that was a good showing for Kamala. I do think that her base needed to see that. And, even myself, for somebody who had grilled Kamala on not being able to do any long form content, she held her own for that 90 minutes, right? Now, she didn't necessarily wow me. She didn't necessarily impress me. But what was surprising was that she was able to hold her own, distract Trump from the point a few times. And, even other political pundits, I'm not a political pundit, but even major political pundits think that, Kamala was able to kind of get some dubs off. Not saying she won, but she was able to get some dubs off. So it was a good showing for Kamala. And again, I think Trump is going to win in November, but I think there was a few points that he could have definitely capitalized on. But like I said, back to Springfield, Ohio. So he says this last night. I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I wasn't even able to get a chance to verify this. And we're 45 minutes east of Springfield, right? Like I said. So it's like, he says it last night. It rubbed me the wrong way when he says it. I do my research on it last night. Y'all, it didn't happen. There's Haitian immigrant population in Springfield. We're going to get into a video that covers that, a little documentary. But the story is really out of Canton, Ohio. The woman's name is Alexis Farrell, and she's an Ohio native. So he wasn't accurate with that. He wasn't accurate with that. I'll say what they say for the other side. He misspoke, all right? He misspoke. It did happen. It just wasn't the exact story that he explained. But we're going to get right into this little mini documentary on the immigrant population, or the Haitian immigrant population in Springfield. Y'all make sure to like the video. We got over 400 of y'all in here. Let's get the likes up. It's going to be a fire stream. Let's do it.
Don't wave at me, you sorry saying.
There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods, collecting cats, skinning them and eating them.
In my opinion, they're worthless. Bunch of worthless sayings.
They're getting thousands of dollars in government assistance, even the cash assistance cards. They're calling them the magic money cards because they never run out.
Man, they're nothing but a headache. All they're doing is raising our rent and our taxes and wrecking vehicles.
Everybody wants to make this into a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's culture, it's accountability, and it's respect.
Since June, they took me off of, I'm a vet. They took me off of the disability.
You're a veteran, and you're competing with some of the resources they're getting who just came in here?
Yeah.
I need some solutions. I'm losing my mind.
This is Springfield, Ohio. What was once a small town in Ohio, home to roughly 60,000 working-class Americans, until 20,000 plus Haitian immigrants flooded into town with rumors of them eating the neighbors' cats and local geese.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Did you eat that cat? Did you eat it? How would you kill it?
They're eating the dogs.
Yeah, it did happen.
The people that came in.
It did happen. It just wasn't what Trump said. It wasn't in Springfield, and it wasn't immigrants.
Car accidents left and right, and driving locals out of their homes by paying above-market rental prices with welfare subsidized by the American taxpayer. Are these Haitians eating cats? How did they track?
And as somebody, like I said, I live 45 minutes east of Springfield. Springfield is one of those cities. It's a cheaper spot to live, especially the inner city. Now, it does have its suburban areas where it's nicer, of course. Almost every city does have its suburban areas or more gentrified areas where it's a little bit nicer, right? But the inner city of Springfield, I ain't gonna lie, Springfield hurting, y'all. It ain't the most affluent city, just in general in comparison to the other Ohio cities. So them saying that they're coming in, the government is subsidizing the rent or paying the rent. and you know it's kind of rising the price of the median rent for everybody else, I can easily see that because it's not an expensive place to live at all. Like, y'all might hate me for this, but low key, like, if we got any Ohio folks in here, man, Springfield a little bit trashy, ain't it? Like, okay, like, y'all might hate me for this, right? And I'm from Dayton, right? So Dayton ain't the nicest city, but Springfield, y'all, come on now. Springfield, we know Springfield a little bit on the dirty side.
Travel 2,000 plus miles from Haiti all the way to Ohio. And do the locals and their new Haitian neighbors get along? I pulled up to Springfield myself to see if this was real or overblown fake news.
A lot of this is alleged because I truly don't know what's going on, and neither does Twitter. Twitter is relying off of a few images and a few Reddit threads, and there are rumors that Haitians are taking neighbors' cats and eating them. Are you from Haiti by chance? Does everyone get along here in Springfield?
Yes.
Good?
Good. Motherfuckers are worthless. Bunch of worthless fucking sand. Yeah.
When did the Haitian neighbors come and move here?
I'm going to say probably 5 months ago.
Okay. I spoke to a few of them in French.
They're everywhere. They're up there. Don't wave at me, you sorry fucking sand. I tell them like it is. Fuck, man. I don't like them. I don't like them, and I want them to know I don't like them. Pack up and move back to Haitieville, where the fuck you're from.
Yo.
Why did you come here to Springfield?
I ain't gonna lie.
In Springfield, pour me venir travailler, me chercher la vie meilleure. Moi, c'est haïtien.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you plan on living here for much longer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You said
heard
as
there
long
were
as I
rumors
can.
of
Hell yeah.
Haitians eating the neighbor's cats and a Canadian goose. Is that true or completely false?
No. Moi pas. Moi
Okay.
pas au courant de ça.
Okay.
M'pa di bagay mais moi pas au courant. Et tout m'pa quoi ça tout. M'pa quoi ça tout. Peut-être mon qui doit avoir un problème d'éducation qui fait faire ça mais m'pa quoi. C'est vraiment difficile pour ça t'arriver.
Okay.
Pretty much he's saying ain't nobody from his community doing that. Ain't nobody he know doing that. Maybe one of the dumb ones. But he said, yeah, me and my peoples, the boat we rode in up on, nah, we ain't doing that.
Lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually,
see,
not fake news.
That's where these Twitter stories come from, y'all. We gotta really start fact checking this shit. Man. I got a couple people in the chat that I'm seeing they know about Springfield. They might be from Springfield. Yo, y'all know you can't believe no guy like this from Springfield. He say some shit like that. Oh yeah, I seen 100 cats and I seen a van full of Haitian immigrants. They said they was gonna eat them. Yeah, they said they was gonna put barbecue sauce on them. They said they was gonna throw them on the grill, and they said they was gonna. Y'all know we can't. Yo, if you from Ohio, you know you can't believe no guy that looks like this.
Fake news.
So a van was collecting cats and eating
untrustworthy. Not a good source of information.
Pulled over with the cats.
He might be entertaining, but
they was eating them.
Can't believe that guy.
with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy.
You don't mess around.
No.
Twitter is saying the Haitians are eating cats and can't drive. Is that true? True or no?
No.
Okay.
I believe it. Like, I've heard rumors about them taking the geese and killing them and eating them, so I try to stay clear away. Because I've even heard about them eating the eggs over there, so I'm like, okay, that's kind of disturbing.
Isn't it racist when they say the Chinese are cooking cats and dogs? How is it not racist to say the Haitians are doing it? Like, come on now. How is it not racist to say the Haitians are eating up, cooking up cats and dogs, getting your pets, rounding them up, putting them in a van, and taking them to the local barbecue? How is that not racist? But when you say the Chinese are doing it, it's extremely insensitive, it's prejudiced, it's xenophobic, and it's racist. Come on now, it should be the same thing.
There he is. This is your guy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So far, so good. I haven't had no issues, but they kind of know us.
And are they chill?
They're alright, I guess. I don't pay no mind to them.
You know, and they're every They take our fucking apartments. The landlords make the people move out so they can rent to the Haitians to get more money. You know, it's bullshit. You know, you go to the grocery store, there's no fucking groceries because, you know, they give them $3,000 a fucking month plus food stamps. I'm an American, just like you.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers come from Haitianville, wherever the fuck they're from, and they get everything. They get medical care paid and everything. You know, it's bullshit.
Where are they getting the money?
The government. They said it's a fucking program for them to...
for, like, migrants, like asylum seekers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, They're like roaches, man.
Yeah, I get along with them as long as they don't go pulling their crazy machetes when they're out mowing their grass with it.
Have they brought out machetes?
Oh yeah, that's how they trim their yard.
Actually?
Yeah, it surprised me they let them all in, but I think that if they're going to come in, they should be legal and not illegal, and I don't see why they're giving them all this money and everything like that when our people are the ones suffering for all this, for them coming in.
And this is the same thing that you guys see, maybe, hopefully, or hopefully not, honestly, but this is the same thing you guys see affecting a lot of the other mid to major size cities in America. Russia immigrants coming in, raising the median price of rent because the government's paying it for them, so they don't give a damn. Maybe fighting or having to apply for the same amount of resources that normally are scarce, but now you have an influx of people competing for the same scarce resources. This is the newest incident or the newest craze to hit Springfield, and it's probably affected, as an Ohioan, I could say it's probably affecting them. Springfield, like I said, it's not a affluent city. They're already kind of down bad. So I could definitely see it hitting Springfield hard. But a lot of you guys in the chat and a lot of you guys that's viewing can attest, like, yeah, it's hitting my city or it's hitting the city not too far from me the same way. Like people coming in, people losing out on benefits, or people having to fight harder for benefits or resources because we got a larger pool now.
They're getting ready to be homeless. They're getting ready to sell my house because of the Haitians.
Do you think a Haitian will move in?
Yeah, they're coming Wednesday to look at it.
Actually?
Damn.
Yeah, and when they buy this house, we'll both be out here on the streets. We ain't got nowhere to go. We're on fixed income.
Are Haitians paying rent? Are they paying their bills? Are they being paid to live here?
They're being paid to live here. I don't see why they'd have to pay rent if they're being paid to be here.
Who's paying them?
The government. And that's our biggest issue too, is they're taking our schools over and they're running the Americans out of our own countries, it feels like.
This country has gone to hell. 12 motherfuckers live there, and there's another 7 or 8 lives right here in this corner house.
And that door, yeah.
And 4 of them just moved in here. They ain't in there.
Do you think you'll sell the house to a Haitian family one day?
Hell no. I wouldn't give them motherfuckers the sweat off my balls if he's dying of thirst.
Damn.
I'm for
That's
real, man.
crazy.
I am sick of them. I don't give a fuck if they put a Haitian in every house. I'll be the only white.
Hey, I'll be honest. For those of y'all who are familiar with Ohio, like I said, as an Ohioan myself, this guy right here, he represents a good amount of the population in these smaller cities like Springfield. A lot of folks from cities like Springfield and surrounding areas feel the same way. Like, they ain't for no immigrants. They barely for us. They barely for us. You think you're going to have some immigrants coming in who don't speak no English, coming in, moving into their neighborhoods, competing for the same resources they already got to compete for? Nah, bro. And he talking his shit. He loud with it, but I'm telling you, like, there's a majority of folks in Springfield and cities like it that feel the same way.
Person here.
I ain't saying it's right.
That
I ain't saying it's right, but I'm just telling you how they feel.
Cats
I live in Ohio.
Is that true or false? I gotta ask the hard questions here.
Let's get the likes up, y'all. We got almost 1,000 of y'all in here. Double tap the screen right now, man. Let's get the likes up.
No. Why is everyone coming here?
Haïtien viennent ici pour travailler, mais manger chatte, non. Parce que, non, pas manger chatte, non, chatte, non. Si nous besoin de viande, manger viande, aller dans Walmart.
He said, we go to Walmart.
Manger chatte haïtien, pas manger chatte.
Yo, fucking hilarious. My man said if we need to eat meat, we go to Walmart. Kroger, what you mean?
Did you leave Haiti?
Moi, j'ai quitté Haïti parce que dans le moment
Haiti's in shambles.
Si on petit gens a un problème politique, te gain des autres qui ont passé, so j'ai juste essayé quitter jusqu'à ce que ça arrangé pour me retourner dans le pays.
Barbecue.
Haiti's in shambles.
Civil war? Like
moi pas connais rien de monde seulement juste un problème mais essayer déplacer mais pas connais aucun nom de ce soir qu'a fait ça.
Okay, so just family and friends told him to come here to Springfield? Could you ask him that?
Yeah, his friend.
I see. Okay. Merci.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't eat cat.
Okay.
It seemed like there was some infrastructure set up there for him, because if they said the government's paying their housing, then the city of Springfield was obviously anticipating an immigration population coming in. They had space for him. They had neighborhoods, vacancies, and they moved him right in. So he didn't know, but shit, the plan was already set for some of these immigrants to come to Springfield, Ohio, when I guess there was nowhere else for them to go.
Don't need cat.
See how that trash can is right there?
Right there, yep.
Okay, every Haitian house you go around, it's honestly filled to the brim. There's trash that leaks out onto the corner everywhere, but we're expected to live clean environment. Sure. And then on top of that, with the rise of immigrants and they get assisted living freely, it makes it harder for people like me or somebody else who doesn't get assisted living to find affordable housing.
Are they driving the housing costs up around here?
Yeah. Like nobody.
Big time?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like.
What are we talking?
Okay. Honestly, in my opinion, it'll be a surprise if I don't get kicked out so they can boost up the rate on this place.
Damn.
They'll probably fix it.
I see.
Get it where it's looking better and boost the rate up on it. They pay $1,200 a month.
How much money does the government give you per month?
Pero el first time me doy como primera vez te pusieron como 500, segunda 300.
Okay. ¿Cuántos Haitians vive aquí en las 2 años?
No tengo un mensual, pero yo nuevo por ahí.
Okay. ¿De dónde eres?
En Haití.
¿Haití?
Sí.
¿Cuántos meses vive aquí?
Tengo 2 meses.
¿2?
Sí.
Did anyone tell you to come here to Springfield, Ohio?
Sí.
Did a friend tell you to come move here for a job? How did you learn about Springfield?
Yo tengo mi padres por ahí.
Okay. How much is it to rent?
Y'all make sure to like the video on the way in, man. Double tap the screen.
Pero todavía yo no pagué, pero yo vivo con mi padre, mensual cada mes 700.
Is anyone eating cats out here?
No.
Okay. Falso.
Falso.
Falso información. Okay. Do you know many other Haitians here?
Yes.
Yeah? Big community?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And why are so many Haitians coming here to Springfield in particular?
Apil Haitien vini sit lan, se paske yo di sit lan gen job Haitien, debi li vini la ka travay, sa vin permet ki gen lot Haitien ki vini. Se rezon sa ki fa apil Haitien vini bo isi.
Okay. Thank you. Also, if you want to support our boots on the ground, independent journalism that is not bought and paid for by corporate interests, along with uncensored early access to all my videos before they go up on YouTube, and exclusive DLC content that YouTube won't let me upload, go subscribe at patreon.com/Tyler Oliveira for less than $5 a month. How long have you lived here?
Yes.
How much money does the government give you per month?
Non. Avant, oui, maintenant non. Non, avant, j'étais con bon pour le moment non, ma travail.
Is it true that...
So the man says when you get a job and you start working, they kind of cut off the benefits, the assistance, and that's how it should be. I mean, that's how it is for anybody else. You get above a certain level of income, they're like, all right, bro, you got it on your own, man. We got to get this shit to somebody else who need it.
Haitians are eating the neighbor's cats.
Oh.
No? Información falso?
Ouais.
Okay. Do they not collect the trash?
Chaque lundi, yo ramasse facteur.
Okay. Why did you leave Haiti?
Non, m'a cherché la vie, m'pas venir ici direct, chercher la vie pour ça venir ici.
Haiti's in rough
Merci
shape,
beaucoup.
yo.
All right, bye-bye.
Haiti's
Got a
in
cat right there,
rough shape.
unaffected. He's chilling, not eating.
It's ridiculous. They
Yeah.
can't even take care of the American citizens before they're bringing in waves and waves of immigrants. And then look at it. There's so many people, veterans, mostly white people that are homeless, living on the streets, has nothing to eat. But these people have brand new houses, brand new cars. I'm having a hell of a time finding a job because they want the Haitian. They're getting thousands of dollars in government assistance. I worked retail before I lost my job back in April. When I do transactions, I can see what comes across on certain cards. I'm not trying to be nosy. I don't want to know what you get. But when a Haitian comes through and spends $500 in food stamps and still has $5,000 on their food assistance card.
$5,000?
$5,000. Would you like to know what the Haitians are called?
Well, this is my question, and somebody's gonna have to let me know, because honestly, I never really had to deal with no type of food stamps. I guess I've been lucky in that regard, or just I ain't never seen the balance, and I really don't know the workings of it. But can you save your food stamp money? So like, if they give you some money, do you have to spend it by the end of the month? Like, is it use it or lose it, or can you add that up? Because I can see, you know, it kind of getting to 5 racks if you got mom and a dad and 4, 5, 6 kids, which a lot of these immigrant families do a lot of times, come over here with kids and whatnot. So I can see, you know, if you getting $600, $700, $800 a month in food stamps. I mean, if you're not using it all or whatever, what have you, and you just kind of adding it up, I can see it getting to 5K. But I don't know. Let me know, because I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't think they're just giving anybody 5K off the rip. One-time payment, here you go. You could probably add it up to that, though.
Calling the food assistance cards, or
Tell me.
even the cash assistance cards, they're calling them the magic money cards because they never run out. I'm homeless. I'm jobless. I'm sleeping on friends' couches because I can't get government assistance because I come from the wrong country, apparently.
Y'all get along out here or what?
We don't socialize with them that much. I mean, they walk up and down the street, they do their little thing. That's it, you know.
Mike, how long you lived out here in Springfield?
Oh, I've lived in Springfield all my life. I'll be 60 in 2 weeks.
When did all the Haitians come in?
About 5.
Bro, that's how a lot of folks in Springfield are. They don't have too many people moving to Springfield. Like, Springfield is one of those cities, you grew up there, you moved out, or you didn't. Like, even other cities in Ohio, that's not like a city to move to, is Springfield. Unless you got a job or a family, something there like that, that's pulling you there. But Springfield isn't one of our more popping cities. You got Cleveland, you got Cincinnati, and you got Columbus. And I'm from Dayton, and I can't even throw Dayton up there on the list. People are moving to those 3 cities, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. They ain't moving to nowhere else, really. That's just how it is in Ohio.
5 years ago, maybe. Okay. And when they packed, they hit this neighborhood hard.
Why?
Outrageous rent. They went through, they painted them, cleaned them up a little bit, rent them to them, and they pay the rent.
I heard on Twitter that cats are getting kidnapped. Is that true?
Yes, my mom actually seen a post on Facebook. There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods collecting cat.
For what?
Skinning them and eating them.
Yo.
Schneider Park. Our actual
Y'all can't believe anybody like this. Tell old girl to lift up her shirt. She got the ICP tattoo right here. Anybody with an ICP tattoo, I'm sorry. I'm not listening to you. Hey, you're probably a good homie. You might want to spark up a doobie with him from every now and again. But bro, I can't take any of that fringe advice or any of that conspiracy outlook from you. I just can't hear it, bro. Like I said, you might be a cool homie, but when it comes to talking about what's going on, I can't listen to you. And Springfield is full of people like that. I ain't gonna lie.
Park. If a Haitian is caught walking the grounds down there, they can get arrested because they're going down there and they're killing the Canadian geese so they can take them home and eat them.
I wouldn't be surprised because we sell a lot of cats around here. And especially down here at the end of the street, that lady had probably 50 of them. Now she's lucky to have 5. And the geese down at the park, they're declining, so I don't know if they're eating them too. I guess it's supposed to be their natural habitat or something or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think this could come to another American town near you?
This could come everywhere, man.
Yeah. Is the future of America?
I hate to say it, but probably so. The Mexicans take it up for the blacks, and the blacks taking it up for the Mexicans is odd.
Interesting.
My country's going down, and I can't wait till Trump gets back in there.
90% of the auto accidents are Haitian involved.
Okay.
And I've almost gotten hit by several of them walking because I walk a lot, and they're going the wrong way down one-way streets, and they think they own the streets. And when they got chased out, he hit the curb. When they got chased out, she heard one of them say it, and it was actually in English.
Look at them just blasted off. What the fuck?
They've knocked down my grandmother's fence.
Yeah.
That brick wall back there, they've drove into it. They've hit cars around here. I mean,
yeah, I ain't gonna lie. And this is not, you take this how you want. And I don't say this with any racist intent, but when immigrants come over here, the driving is vastly different from how it is in their country. Think about it, bro. They're used to driving on the other side of the road. A lot of times, even the steering wheel is on the other side of the car. So when they get over here, bro, and they drive, I'm trying to watch my words, right? I got some foreign homies, right? But when they get over here and they drive how they drive, bro, it is kind of like an adjustment for them. Like, that's why they kind of drive in the way that they drive. They're not used to this shit.
They cannot drive. Whoever's giving them driver's license ought to have theirs taken on.
But look, every time
what's going on, everybody in the chat, man? Make sure to like the video. We almost got 1,000 of y'all in here already.
100%.
Like, when you have the old black dude siding.
Yo, appreciate the Darth Mauler, man. Another $5 super chat, boy. Appreciate the support, my man. Ah, man. Darth Mauler, Star Wars. R.I.P. James Earl Jones.
with the old white redneck and they're talking about joining teams, that's when you know everything is going to go downhill, and it's going to go downhill quick.
Real. We all know about the neo-Nazis just a couple weeks ago being down, and I ain't saying that's right and I ain't saying it's wrong, but look, let's think about it. I'm 36 years old, and in 36 years, that's the first time I've ever seen the neo-Nazis rally in our city.
My mom was
That's true. That is true. You would think Springfield is kind of outspokenly like that, but it's just kind of like that old white heritage type of town. It's like a southern white heritage type of town. Like it just, they're not like overtly racist. It's just kind of like if you ask them, like, yeah, like, you know, I don't necessarily like immigrants or black folks, but they're not like overtly racist in your face. You can live in the city and, you know, coexist and whatnot. It's not like one of those cities where, you know, immigrants or black people are just hated. It's just kind of like one of those things where, like I said, it's just kind of some of that, the culture of, you know, us being different, us being segregated. You know, like Springfield is just kind of one of those cities. It's just, it is what it is, right? It's not Ohio's biggest city. It's not one of our biggest mid-sized cities. So, you know, Springfield, we leave them alone for real. But yeah, it is kind of one of those cities where most of the population does feel like that. Like, I ain't saying that I love them. I ain't saying that I hate them. It just is what it is.
Telling me she was coming home the other night and seeing a carload of Klan members.
Oh yeah, Klan members.
Yes.
That's just full on war going down.
Pretty much.
That's what it's coming to. And it's all going to be against the same people.
Like, shit. At a certain point in time, it's like you can't help it. Like, you can't help it. Like, they're here. I don't love them, but they're here. But if you come up to me and ask me about it, I'll tell you my opinion, and I don't really care for them.
Sobre migración de muchas Haitians a Springfield. ¿Sí posible?
Sí.
¿De dónde eres?
Haití.
Haití. Okay. ¿Cuántos meses vive aquí?
Un mes.
¿Qué es la razón que vive aquí?
No, yo no vivo por acá. Yo tengo sobrino que vive ahí. Yo vengo a visitar.
¿Visitan? ¿Cuántos dólares tú recibes cada mes del gobierno?
No, todavía, porque...
He said nothing. Yeah, I'm still getting it.
Pero no me manda todavía.
He said, but when that check hit, though. When that check hit, though.
¿Cómo es posible que vive en las casas con nada de dinero?
Aquí yo no sabe nada. Yo vengo a visitar a una persona. Yo no vivo para acá.
Okay, ¿por qué tú manejas el coche con mucho
He said, that's
rápido?
how we drive in Haiti.
No fui yo que estaba manejando.
Mucho rápido en esa street.
No, estaba manejando, es mi primo.
Ok. ¿Es cierto que personas comen los gatos o no?
No sé.
No, ok, lo siento.
And they all, you can kind of tell, like, they're really not doing that. Like, anytime he's asked one of these Haitian immigrants, like, are y'all eating the cats and the dog? They literally laugh at him like what? Like, somebody told you that? Like, nah, we're not doing that, G. Like, maybe some crazy motherfuckers are, but like, me, my peoples, the Haitians that I know, we're not touching nobody's cats and nobody's dogs. Oh, but my mom seen a post on Facebook. Like, yeah, you can't believe everything you see on Facebook. And it's crazy I gotta say that.
Gracias por tu tiempo. I'm trying to interview locals out here and hear their thoughts about the Haitians that have moved in.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I lived here for 24 years. Yeah. I lived in LA for 38
Haitians speak
years.
Creole. It's like
it is
Black
causing
French,
probably
really.
some problems. I personally noticed it because it took me months on end to find an apartment to live in.
Sure. The available housing supply has gone down and the prices have gone up, or what?
I'm not 100% sure about the prices going up. I mean, I hear rumors that there's landlords ripping off some of the Haitian people, you know, like trying to put multiple families in a house and charging them too much money. I don't know if that's true. It's just stuff I've heard. But yeah, it has affected the market because, you know, like I said, I couldn't even get anybody to call me back for months. Couldn't tell you. I haven't had any problems with anybody. I can tell you that. Again, no cat eating.
How you doing, sir?
No cat eating. You ain't had no problems with no Haitian immigrants. And a lot of times, what do I say, man? Follow the money. Y'all worried about or y'all wondering why these Haitian immigrants or these immigrants are entering these towns and these cities nationwide? Follow the money. Somebody's getting paid. Bureaucracy at its finest. Somebody's getting paid. A job is getting created. And, you know, what's a problem for us is a benefit for somebody at the top.
What's your name?
Pavon.
Pavon. Oh, you own this?
Yeah.
You'd be a great person to talk to, then.
Yeah, for sure.
We've heard a lot of the Haitians that have moved here recently come here often.
Yeah.
What's going on here in Springfield?
There's just like an influx of the population, the Haitian community. I mean, they're protected status here, so they're just like, I mean, obviously I've filled up the town with it, and yeah, that's where we're at right now, pretty much.
So you own this laundromat?
Yeah, so my dad owns this laundromat, I own the sneaker store next to it, so I run both things right now, so yeah.
Are your customers primarily Haitian? What's the split?
Before, I would say the last like 2-3 years, I mean, primarily whoever was in town, but yeah, there's a huge influx in, the Haitian community. That's like primarily our like customers like nowadays. So yeah, I will say there's 100% a divide in our town. Thing is like, I just hope that whatever you guys do cover, something good comes out of it, right? Like in the next 5 to 6 years, hopefully there's some sort of unity between everybody. Hopefully there's some sort of change. That's the biggest thing, like, I feel like you guys should cover. Just some sort of like way to bring people together. This is the guy you want to talk to.
How you doing, man? We're filming a YouTube video. We're trying to see what's going on here.
This is a guy.
Wait, you running for mayor? Oh yeah, I tried to find you. I know who you are. So out of pure luck, I met up with Anthony Harris, the guy who went viral for giving this speech at Springfield's town hall.
These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They flipping cars in the middle of the street. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
And who's been going live on Facebook documenting the constant car crashes from the new Haitian drivers. We headed to the BMV to see how the Haitians are getting driver's licenses in cars so quickly after moving here despite speaking zero English.
Question for y'all. What are your thoughts on the Haitians?
They can't drive? This guy right here.
They can't
my
drive.
Haitian dude. Yo.
That's what everybody
Bonjour.
says. That might be the one thing I could co-sign.
Stop! Do not. Stop, bro. Stop. Do not.
You said that shit, not me. You take that back. I didn't do shit.
I'll tell you that, man. Bro, come on, bro. We be playing, bro. There's nothing wrong with some jokes.
Let's go see what's up. How y'all doing? Question for you. Do you know how the Haitians are getting driver's license? Can they transfer their license from Haiti, or?
No, they cannot transfer.
Do they have to undergo the same test?
I'm not allowed to answer the personal questions outside of the office.
Well, okay. You know what they have to do?
I do not. I really don't know. No, but I know they're getting them quick.
They're getting them quick, right? We can ask.
What she said.
You are not allowed to take pictures in here, sir.
In the, go outside? Sorry. Are they able to transfer their licenses from Haiti to here?
No, not without taking the test. But that's the only question I can answer. I can't answer anything else.
Do you know how the Haitians...
You could best believe they were instructed not to answer questions like that when it comes to the Haitian immigrants. Like, you don't want to just be giving out answers to the residents, and a story on Facebook is now populating, and now rumors are flying and conspiracies are everywhere. So yeah, any public city worker like that is probably going to be on the hush hush when it comes to anything about immigrants or the Haitian population.
Getting their driver's license so fast?
I do not.
Okay. All right, that's all I got for you.
I wish I knew.
Are they driving pretty good out here or what?
No.
No?
Everybody with their car.
Why is that, do you think?
You don't know how to drive in general.
Okay.
Like I see them driving over there, trying to learn how to drive, but I don't think they have to drive at all.
Okay.
I don't even think they should have a license. No lights when they be driving around, and nothing.
Do you think it poses a threat to public safety?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Managers are nothing but a headache. All they're doing is raising our rent and our taxes and wrecking vehicles, and there's just been nothing but a hassle since they've been here. It's been horrible.
How would you rank their driving from 1 to 10?
A -10. They're horrible.
So I see some of y'all in the chat really kind of just getting in here and maybe not sure where the stream is headed, what I'm talking about. It's all good. So we're debunking the story. We are debunking the viral story that Trump mentioned last night on the debate of people eating residents, cats and dogs in Springfield, right? Now, there is a story out of another city in Canton, Ohio, where an Ohio resident, Alexis Farrell, did kill and eat a cat. And we're going to cover that video after this one. And now I'm hearing reports of people at city council before the Facebook post, before the virality came in, and said that people's pets and the geese in the park were being abused, killed, and perhaps even eaten. But again, to this day, 9/11, RIP, right? There is no reports in Springfield, Ohio of no police reports, no official police reports, no official city reports of any pets being killed and eaten. There are no reports.
A driving test here? Oui?
Habla español.
Español, sí. ¿Cómo es posible que recibir tu licencia muy rápido?
No, es que por ahora no sé, es que lo que necesito viene acá para preguntar por la información.
Okay. Okay, all right. Gracias. So, with more confusion gained than answers explaining how these Haitians are passing their driver's tests, I headed down to the Springfield Welfare Center where Haitians are apparently clogging the lines for locals, exhausting the town's resources, and overwhelming the employees. Question. Where are you guys from? Haiti? Haiti? Okay. How many Haitians do you think will come out here in line today? That's what we're trying to...
I'll say 80% of the people that come out here will be Haitian.
Okay. How long you been here in Springfield?
I've been here for 7 years now. What takes so long?
Some of y'all are either watching and not listening or just not watching and not listening. But I don't know. Either way, like I said, there is an actual case of a pet being eaten in Ohio, but it wasn't a Haitian immigrant and it wasn't in Springfield. It's as simple as that. Now, some of y'all might want to say Trump lied last night. I say he misspoke. If that's what they can say about the other side, when Walls, says he did this and that in the army, and they don't say it's stolen valor, but they say he misspoke. I say, okay, well, if Trump said Springfield, but he meant Canton, if he said immigrants, but he meant Ohio resident, well, then he misspoke. I can say the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's because they've got only 2 lines that they serve people in there, sometimes 3. And on all 3 of those, they got interpreters for each one, right? When it'll go a lot faster if you had one line for people that couldn't, speak English that well, and then have another line for
them. Having 3 interpreters at every line indicates that the majority of the people coming through here need an interpreter. So them having one line with one interpreter, it would slow up the process. So that just kind of infers that most of the people coming through this lobby, this benefits lobby, are immigrants. They need an interpreter. They're outnumbering the people who in the city who wouldn't just be able to come through regularly without an interpreter.
People that can go through the line faster, because a lot of times they'll have paperwork with them and stuff. They won't have it in order.
We tried the split line for a while. It ended up being less efficient for everybody.
Yeah. Is this about as long as it gets these days?
This is a normal Monday. Yeah, we've had worse, but...
Francois? English? No.
Standing in line 30 minutes, they might only just serve 4 or 5 people.
Got it. How many people do you think will come here this Monday?
This Monday? Yeah. I'm telling you, out of this Monday, I figure at least they might see 5, honey.
What do you think the split is between new Haitians that have come in here and Springfieldian OGs, if you will?
I don't know too much about all...
Observationally, what have you seen?
9 to 1 easy.
I'm just here because I'm just trying to get them to clear a medical card.
Are the systems stressed right now in Springfield? Can they handle the amount of people coming in?
No, they really can't. I've been trying to get just a simple Medicaid card since June. They took me off I'm a vet. They took me off of the disability.
Immigrants over vets. Who can agree with that? Who else does that just kind of rub the wrong way? Now, I'm not trying to sit here and get up here and purport any type of hate on these people, but I'm America first. When you got people coming into my state, a city that's close to the city I stay in, 45 miles west of the city I stay in, and you telling me that this older black gentleman, been a Springfield resident probably most of all of his life, can't get the benefits that he needs after he served in our military. Thank you for his service. And he has to compete with these, it doesn't matter where they're from, these immigrants that really came over here and are having to compete in the same pool of resource for people who have been over here. It's just tough. That just doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me happy. And I think that's the issue. We got people over here, we got infrastructural issues that already exist, underserved communities, marginalized groups that already need our attention, already need to be the focal point, and now you're bringing in more people. It's an issue that we really can't even put a cap on at this point.
and made me start paying for my own disability. And I don't know why they took me off, but so I had to give them proof of income and disabilities and stuff. I gave them all that. They still ain't did nothing.
So you're a veteran and you're competing with some of the resources they're getting who just came in here?
Yeah. This America. You dig what I'm saying?
You dig what I'm saying?
That the things that the hoops they make us jump through can have you turn on each other in a sense or say negative things. I don't have anything that's negative to say or bad to say about anybody Haitian. Know what I mean?
Do you think the town's taking care of their local residents that were here first and foremost?
Oh, no. Hell no.
Well, thanks for your service.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Good luck in line.
Like, and the thing is, there's people on Twitter and Instagram that don't think it's real. Like, don't think none of this.
Y'all make sure to like the video, man. Let's get some likes up in here. Let's get as many folks as we can in here. Let's shoot for 100 likes, y'all. So double tap the screen if you in here right now. You can also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. And if you got any thoughts, comments, questions, jokes, disagreements, if I'm cooking, if I'm not cooking, let me know, man. Super chatting $1 or more. I got y'all, man. I'll read it aloud on stream. We can keep it engaging, keep it fun. Let's get some more folks in here. Let's continue to have a good-ass stream, man. I'm having fun. Having a good time,
none of
man.
that shit's real that you're saying. There's
Cat,
no way
dog,
they bought
conspiracy. It's
English?
It's crazy, man.
No English?
It's crazy.
Okay.
This is the point
That's
in the
crazy.
matrix we at
You're
right
local
now.
trying to get your Medicaid, your welfare benefits, etc. You're waiting 2 hours now. Crazy?
Crazy as fuck.
Well, we're 6 minutes away from this woman's house. This woman has stated that people are throwing mattresses on her joint. She is not expecting us. I am just going to show up and knock on her door and see what happens. Hi there. I saw your speech at the city council, and I was wondering if I could interview you. Well, I've seen a video of a guy getting a Canadian goose, a Haitian dude, and I have rumors of
South
Haitians
African?
taking cats. Tell me what's going on here.
I'm a cat lady, as you can tell.
You have a lot of cats.
Yeah, I have a lot of cats. The goose story, I believe, originated in Columbus. I have not seen it here.
And just for context, you are surrounded, this entire community, mostly Haitians now?
Yeah, I believe we're looking at probably about 50% is what I'm saying. But I'm worried. My town is going to pot. Everybody wants to make this into a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's culture, it's accountability, and it's respect. And that's the things that I'm not seeing. And the women in this country have fought long and hard for the rights that they have been afforded. And these men in this culture treat their women very badly, and I watch it firsthand. Come on, give me a break. Start acting like you got some sense. The driving of the vehicles is a main sticking point. Haitian men came down with probably a queen-size mattress and threw it in the front yard. It didn't go very well. I tried to explain. I tried to be nice. Didn't go very well. So
And you explained in English?
yes, I had to drop the F-bomb and told them, take it and go. So they went down the street and ended up at that house right there.
Got it.
So they've thrown trash in the yard as they walk by. I'm done. I'm tired of dealing with the disrespect. I've never been so disrespected in my life, and my ex-husband has never disrespected me like this. They're not prosecuting for the property crimes, and it's a big mess, and we need some help. I want my city back. I want my people happy, and this is my town. I want to take it back.
Do you think the Haitians here are trying to assimilate to the culture in the town you grew up in?
No, I don't see it. If it is, more power to him. But there's a language barrier. I get it. Okay, but when they are paroled here on the I-94, they get 8 months of English lessons, the first 8 months.
Okay.
If they're not taking advantage of that, then why should we, the taxpayer, have to turn around and have our services overwhelmed? They're saying 20,000, and I am saying between 35 and 40 with the birth rates and the things that I see going on. So I don't know who's to blame. I don't know whose door to start kicking in. Mike DeWine, if you see this, Mike DeWine, get a hold of me. I really would like to have a word with you, and I promise I won't.
So shout out to S.E.T, man. We got a quick little fact check, quick little tidbit I want to add for y'all. So apparently there is cases in Clark County, which would encompass Springfield, of Haitian immigrants in the park holding geese by the neck. So it's a little bit different, and it is aside from the pet story or the pet claims that people were eating people's pets and rounding them up in a Facebook van, and 100 cats and 2 Haitian immigrants, and they riding up. Oh man, what did she say? They was riding up, gathering up everybody, cats and dogs, in a white van. Like, that shit was hilarious. And she said her mom seen a post on Facebook. Hilarious. But no, specifically about the claim that Trump made last night, that was false. I'm going to say he misspoke. Y'all going to hate me for it, but he misspoke. It was a case in Ohio. It wasn't in Springfield, though. It was in Canton, and it wasn't a Haitian immigrant, and it was Ohio native. So we're going to play that video for y'all right now. This video is wrapping up. But, yes, there were claims, and there is a police report to actually back it, that Haitian immigrants were holding geese by the neck in, I think, a city park in Clark County, which encompasses Springfield, Ohio.
Won't yell at somebody.
So a lot of times you do kind of have to deep dive into some of this stuff once the virality hits, because there's so much smoke and you don't really know what's truth from fiction. But us living in Ohio, it's kind of personal to us. So shout out S.E.T for doing that behind the scenes research on that. But we can put to rest the claims, the official claims, that people's pets are getting eaten in Springfield, Ohio. We're going to get into the video of where it's actually happening at, or where it actually took place at, right now.
A hold of me. I don't care who. Get a hold of me. I need some solutions. I'm losing my mind.
All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed that video. Shout out my man Tyler Oliveira. It was a nice little documentary. It went crazy. A little over 1 million views in 17 hours. A crazy viral story. Trump mentioned it last night. Kind of gave it some fire. And obviously, us being Ohio natives, you knew we was going to cover that right here at S.E.T Media. But for those of y'all who want to know what happened, again, this lady's name right here is Alexis Farrell. She is a Canton, Ohio native. She's 27 years old. And this is what happened, or this is the police body cam footage of them pulling up on her after the damage was done. Because she really did she really did stomp out and eat a cat. Now, I think she might be suffering from some mental health issues that, y'all hopefully notice and see as this video pulls up. But it wasn't in Springfield, and it wasn't Haitian immigrants. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Hopefully y'all enjoying the stream so far, man. Go ahead and leave a like. It's been a fire stream so far. We got
in
cat,
Springfield.
dog.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Now back to our other top story. Last night, President Trump doubled down on claims that Haitian immigrants are eating pets in Springfield, Ohio. Our verified team confirmed with the Springfield mayor.
Come on, nah. We're going to put this in on YouTube, y'all. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Hopefully y'all enjoying the stream, though. We do it live, goddammit. Here we go. It's quick. It's quick, y'all.
Stand up. Put your hands behind your back. Someone got rubber gloves. She's covered in blood. So you have a right to remain silent on anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney if you can't afford one, won't be appointed to you at state's expense. You have a right to have that attorney present during any questioning. You have a right to stop answering any questions once they begin. Do you understand your rights? Do you understand? Smile for me. Smile with your teeth. Go like this. Did you eat that cat?
Damn.
Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it?
Damn.
Get in there.
I ain't gonna
it's
lie.
ridiculous. Stand up. Put your hands behind your
I
back.
ain't gonna lie.
Someone got rubber gloves. She's covered in
Let's
blood.
play that back one more time for y'all.
So you have a right to remain silent on anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney if you can't afford one, won't be appointed to you at state's expense. You have the right to have that attorney present during any questioning. You have the right to stop answering any questions once they begin. Do you understand your rights?
Make a dirty joke out of that. Did you eat that cat?
Do you understand? Smile for me. Smile with your teeth. Go like this. Did you eat that cat?
Did you eat that cat?
Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it?
Some of y'all be like, yeah, I ate that cat.
Get in there. It's ridiculous. Stand up. Put your hands behind your back. Someone got rubber gloves. She's covering.
Oh, man, that is wild. That is wild. So, yes, it did happen. For those of y'all who be like, oh, my God, he completely lied. That's not happening anywhere. Actually, he was pretty close. He was pretty goddamn close. Like I said, shout out S.E.T for the background research. He just came in with the story. Actually got the police report right here to match. There were Haitian immigrants reported to have been in a city park in Clark County, which encompasses Springfield, Ohio, holding geese by the neck. So they were doing weird shit with animals, but eating them, killing them, that was in Canton. That was Alexis Farrell. She's an Ohio native. Y'all heard it right here, S.E.T Media. You ain't got to go nowhere else, man. I just debunked it right there for you, right? So Trump was wrong last night. He misspoke. He lied. Whatever you want to say. I ain't going to get caught up on semantics or the word games with y'all. It wasn't true. I just gave y'all the facts. Boom. All right. So y'all wondering how we going to finish this stream off. I know. Y'all probably sitting in here like, damn, okay, how are we about to finish this stream off? So Trump last night, like I said, it wasn't his hottest night. He really didn't grill her like I wanted. Like I said, I'm toxic. I wanted to see him grill her ass. I wanted to see him get up there, grill her ass. There was a couple times he had her, but I wanted to see him get up there, completely grill her, fry her, tell the moderators the same thing, grill them. I wanted to see some of that 2016 Trump energy. I wanted to see some of that Trump versus Hillary energy. So what better to do, y'all, than to go back to when Trump did have that energy. We're going to do a full reaction to the Trump-Clinton first debate from 2016. We're going to get right into it, man, because this is what Trump should have came with last night. This is what won Trump the majority of his base, man. Let's get right into it. Because love him or hate him, man, this is what put Trump on the map.
America. At the start of each segment, I will ask the same lead-off question to both candidates, and they will each have up to 2 minutes to respond. From that point until the end of the segment, we'll have an open discussion. The questions are mine and have not been shared with the commission or the campaigns. The audience here in the room has agreed to remain silent so that we can focus on what the candidates are saying. I will invite you to applaud, however, at this moment as we welcome the candidates. Democratic nominee for president.
Mics weren't muted. Had a studio audience. Ah, man, what a time to be alive. This was gold. This was gold right here. And we didn't even know it.
President of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
Let's all just reminisce. Let's all just reminisce right now, because this was gold. This was awesome. We didn't even know how good this was.
Good luck to you. Trump, good luck to you.
Hillary had the short haircut. She didn't need no earpiece
all the
either.
issues of this campaign tonight, but I remind everyone there are 2 more presidential debates scheduled. We are going to focus on many of the issues that voters tell us are most important, and we're going to press for specifics. I am honored to have this role, but this evening belongs to the candidates and just as important to the American people. Candidates, we look forward to hearing you articulate your policies and your positions, as well as your visions and your values. So, let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Achieving Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. There are 2 economic realities in America today. There's been a record 6 straight years of job growth, and new census numbers show incomes have increased at a record rate after years of stagnation. However, income inequality remains significant, and nearly half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton, why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of American workers?
Well, thank you, Lester, and thanks to Hofstra for hosting us. The central question in this election is really what kind of country we want to be and what kind of future we'll build together. Today is my granddaughter's 2nd birthday, so I think about this a lot. First, we have to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. That means we need new jobs, good jobs, with rising incomes. I want us to invest in you. I want us to invest in your future. That means jobs in infrastructure, in advanced manufacturing, in innovation and technology, clean renewable energy, and small business, because most of the new jobs will come from small business. We also have to make the economy fairer. That starts with raising the national minimum wage and also guarantee, finally, equal pay for women's work. I also want to see more companies do profit sharing. If you help create the profits, you should be able to share in them, not just the executives at the top.
Let's get the likes up, y'all. We almost had 100 likes. Double tap that screen, smash the like button.
People who are struggling to balance family and work. I've heard from so many of you about the difficult choices you face and the stresses that you're under. So let's have paid family leave, earn sick days. Let's be sure we have affordable childcare and debt-free college. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it by having the wealthy pay their fair share and close the corporate loopholes. Finally, we tonight are on the stage together, Donald Trump and I. Donald, it's good to be with you. We're going to have a debate where we are talking about the important issues facing our country. You have to judge us.
This shit was gold,
who can
man.
shoulder the immense, awesome responsibilities of the presidency? Who can put into action the plans that will make your life better? I hope that I will be able to earn your vote on November 8th.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump, the same question to you. It's about putting more money into the pockets of American workers. You have up to 2 minutes.
Let me go get my hat.
Thank you, Lester. Our jobs are fleeing the country. They're going to Mexico. They're going to many other countries. You look at what China is doing to our country in terms of making our product. They're devaluing their currency, and there's nobody in our government to fight them. And we have a very good fight, and we have a winning fight, because they're using our country as a piggy bank to rebuild China, and many other countries are doing the same thing.
MAGA, but it's red,
so we're
though.
losing our good jobs, so many of them. When you look at what's happening in Mexico, a friend of mine who builds plants said it's the 8th wonder of the world. They're building some of the biggest plants anywhere in the world, some of the most sophisticated, some of the best plants.
Yeah.
With the United States, as he said, not so much. So Ford is leaving. You see that, their small car division leaving. Thousands of jobs, leaving Michigan, leaving Ohio. They're all leaving, and we can't allow it to happen anymore. As far as child care is concerned and so many other things, I think Hillary and I agree on that. We probably disagree a little bit as to numbers and amounts and what we're going to do, but perhaps we'll be talking about that later. But we have to stop our jobs from being stolen from us. We have to stop our companies from leaving the United States, and with it, firing all of their people. All you have to do is take a look at Carrier.
Yo. Does that not sound familiar? Trump talking about black jobs, Hispanic jobs being stolen. Now we kind of got some of the corporations to stay. We got some of the companies to come back. We got the chip manufacturing back here in New Albany. That's a little bit north of Columbus, probably 20, 30 minutes north of Columbus. So some things have changed, but that's kind of funny to note right there. He's talking about we got to stop the people stealing our jobs, and he's running off that exact policy this time around. You know, it's kind of funny. He had a strong stance on immigration in 2016 because it was bad coming off a Democratic president. And what's Trump running off of right now?
Air conditioning in Indianapolis. They fired 1,400 people. They're going to Mexico. So many, hundreds and hundreds of companies are doing this. We cannot let it happen. Under my plan, I'll be reducing taxes tremendously, from 35% to 15% for companies, small and big businesses. That's going to be a job creator like we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. Companies will come, they will build, they will expand, new companies will start, and I look very, very much forward to doing it. We have to renegotiate our trade deals, and we have to stop these countries from stealing our companies and our jobs.
Secretary Clinton, would you like to respond?
Well, I think that trade is an important issue. Of course, we are 5% of the world's population. We have to trade with.
Let's get the likes up, y'all. We just hit 100, so appreciate the support. Let's shoot for 200, man. We going back. We just hopped in the hot tub time machine. We taking it back to 2016. This is the energy I wanted to see Donald Trump come with last night. Ultimately, I think he's going to win in November still. You know, he still got my support, my vote, whatever. I ain't a fanboy. I just think he's the better option of the two. But he dropped the ball on a few things. He really didn't have that. He didn't really have that Trump that we knew and loved in 2016. He didn't come at the candidate. He didn't come at the mods like we like to see him do. So let's go back to 2016 where he just had it, man. It was the aura, man. It was a special time. Let's go back.
The other 95%. And we need to have smart, fair trade deals. We also, though, need to have a tax system that rewards work and not just financial transactions. And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth.
And it wasn't a complete L for him last night. Kamala had some highlights. I give her that. She had her things, earpiece aside. She, word salad aside. She did well for the 90 minutes she was up there. She got Trump frustrated. And even a lot of political pundits, major political pundits and commentators alike said that Kamala did pretty well. Trump had some moments where he lost. Trump had some L's. Kamala had some dubs. Again, I think Trump wins ultimately come November, but last night specifically, I don't know, man. It's tough to say. It wasn't a complete L for him, but he had some moments where I would have liked to see him clean up a little bit.
Would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percent of the people in this country than we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle down because that's exactly what it would be. That is not how we grow the economy. We just have a different view about what's best for growing the economy, how we make investments that will actually produce jobs and rising incomes. I think we come at it from somewhat different perspectives. I understand that. Donald was very fortunate in his life, and that's all to his benefit. He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his father, and he really believes that the more you help wealthy people, the better off.
$14 million and turn it into what I think is $4 billion to this day. So he ain't failed. As much as y'all want to say he was a failure, he went bankrupt. That's a part of running businesses. That's a part of being an entrepreneur. And those of y'all who don't know, shut the hell up. Because running this shit, starting some shit on your own, being your own boss, it ain't easy. And I can only imagine at the millionaires level what this shit takes, the discipline this shit requires. And shit, it ain't nothing to fuck it up if you're going to get it right back. So shout out Trump, just on the entrepreneurial tip, on the businessman success tip.
Will be, and that everything will work out from there. I don't buy that. I have a different experience. My father was a small businessman. He worked really hard. He printed drapery fabrics on long tables where he pulled out those fabrics and he went down with a silk screen and dumped the paint in and took the squeegee and kept going. And so what I believe is the more we can do for the middle class, the more we can invest in you, your education, your skills, your future, the better we will be off and the better we'll grow. That's the kind of economy I want us to see again.
Let me follow up with Mr. Trump if I can. You've talked about creating 25 million jobs, and you've promised to bring back millions of jobs for Americans. How are we going to bring back the industries that have left this country for cheaper labor overseas? How specifically are you going to tell American manufacturers that you have to come back?
Well, for one thing, and before we start on that, my father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars with some of the greatest assets in the world. And I say that only because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. Our country's in deep trouble. We don't know what we're doing when it comes to devaluations, and all of these countries all over the world, especially China, they're the best ever at it. What they're doing to us is a very, very sad thing. So we have to do that. We have to renegotiate our trade deals. And Lester, they're taking taking our jobs, they're giving incentives, they're doing things that, frankly, we don't do. Let me give you the example of Mexico. They have a VAT tax. We're in a different system. When we sell into Mexico, there's a tax. When they sell in automatic, 16% approximately. When they sell into us, there's no tax. It's a defective agreement. It's been defective for a long time, many years, but the politicians haven't done anything about it. Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me. But in all fairness to Secretary Clinton,
where was this at last night? The joking, the sarcasm, the wittiness, the witty remarks, I should say. We were missing that last night. God damn it.
when she started talking about this, it was really very recently. She's been doing this for 30 years. And why hasn't she made the agreements better? The NAFTA agreement is defective just because of the tax and many other reasons, but just because of the fact.
Let me interrupt just a moment.
Secretary Clinton and others, politicians, should have been doing this for years, not right now because of the fact that we've created a movement. They should have been doing this for years. What's happened to our jobs and our country and our economy generally is, look, we owe $20 trillion. We cannot do it any longer, Lester.
Back to the question, though, how do you specifically bring back jobs, American manufacturers? How do you make them bring the jobs back?
Well, the first thing you do is don't let the jobs leave. The companies are leaving. I could name, there are thousands of them. They're leaving, and they're leaving in bigger numbers than ever. And what you do is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck. But if you think you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or your cookies or whatever you make and bring them into our country without a tax, you're wrong. And once you say you're going to have to tax them coming in, and our politicians never do this because they have special interests, and the special interests want those companies to leave because in many cases they own the companies. So what I'm saying is we can stop them from leaving. We have to stop them from leaving. And that's
we had to, and we still do, because these companies leave. That hurts the job market, that hurts the economy, that hurts the employment rate, that hurts America. Bottom line, like, he was spot on with that. Man, like I said, the reason why I wanted to go back is because, this is the Trump we needed last night. And I'm not saying he's lost a step. I know that's the claim for a lot of, even his supporters say like, oh, he's not the same from 2016. Yeah, he's dialed it back some, but I still think this is in there somewhere. And last night's debate was disappointing for me because I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of that from him, that Trump that we know and love, that, let's be honest, the divisive character that makes him as popular as he is today.
Big factor.
Let me let Secretary Clinton get
in there. Let's stop.
Oh, so you guys don't believe in trickle down economics?
8 years ago, we had the worst financial crisis, the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s. That was in large part because of tax policies that slashed taxes on the wealthy, failed to invest in the middle class, took their eyes off of Wall Street, and created a perfect storm. In fact, Donald was one of the people who rooted for the housing crisis. He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
9 million people lost their jobs. 5 million people lost their homes, and $13 trillion in family wealth was wiped out. Now, we have come back from that abyss, and it has not been easy. So we're now on the precipice of having a potentially much better economy, but the last thing we need to do is to go back to the policies that failed us in the first place. Independent experts have looked at what I've proposed and looked at what Donald's proposed, and basically they've said this, that if his tax plan, which would blow up the debt by over $5 trillion and would in some instances disadvantage middle-class families compared to the wealthy, were to go into effect, we would lose 3.5 million jobs and maybe have another recession. They've looked at my plans and they've said, okay, if we can do this, and I intend to get it done, we will have 10 million more new jobs because we will be making investments where we can grow the economy.
Let's get some more folks in here, man. If you watched last night's debate, It don't matter who you think won. It don't matter who you think lost. Let's get some more folks in on this conversation. We can have a engaging back and forth from both sides. Support Kamala, support Trump. It don't matter. So double tap the screen. You can also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. It pushes the video in the algorithm, increases the engagement and the reach, and we can get some more folks in here from both sides. It don't matter, man. And of course, if you guys have any comments, thoughts, questions, disagreements, anything y'all want read aloud, super chat in $1 or more, man. I got y'all. Let's keep it fun. Let's keep it engaging.
Energy. Some country is going to be the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. Donald thinks that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. I think it's real.
I did not.
Science is real.
I do not say that.
And I think it's important that we grip this and deal with it, both at home and abroad. And here's what we can do. We can deploy 500 million more solar panels. We can have enough clean energy to power every home. We can build a new modern electric grid. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of new economic activity. So I've tried to be very specific about what we can and should do, and I am determined that we're going to get the economy really moving again, building on the progress we've made over the last 8 years, but never going back to what got us in trouble in the first place.
Mr. Trump. She talks about solar panels. We invested in a solar company, our country. That was a disaster. They lost plenty of money on that one. Now, look, I'm a great believer in all forms of energy, but we're putting a lot of people out of work. Our energy policies are a disaster. Our country is losing so much in terms of energy, in terms of paying off our debt. You can't do what you're looking to do with $20 trillion in debt. The Obama administration, from the time they've come in, is over 230 years worth of debt, and he's topped it. He's doubled it in a course of almost 8 years, 7.5 years to be semi-exact. So I will tell you this.
Like the video, y'all. Double tap the screen.
Do a much better job at keeping our jobs. And we have to do a much better job at giving companies incentive to build new companies or to expand, because they're not doing it. And all you have to do is look at Michigan and look at Ohio and look at all of these places where so many of their jobs and their companies are just leaving. They're gone. And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well, actually,
I will bring back jobs. You can't bring back jobs.
Well, actually, I have thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah, for 30 years.
I have... well, not quite that long.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I think my husband did a pretty good job in the 1990s. I think a lot about what worked and how we can make it work again.
Well, he approved
new jobs, a balanced budget,
which is the single worst trade deal ever approved in this country.
Incomes went up for everybody. Manufacturing jobs went up also in the 1990s, if we're actually going to look at the facts. When I was in the Senate, I had a number of trade deals that came before me, and I held them all to the same test. Will they create jobs in America? Will they raise incomes in America? And are they good for our national security? Some of them I voted for. The biggest one, a multinational one known as CAFTA, I voted against. And because I hold the same standards as I look at all of these trade deals. But let's not
And shout out Pablo Escobar. This $2 super chat, man. We appreciate the support. My man said, orange clown eats dogs and cats. Yeah. You know, and I appreciate that super chat, my man, because like I said, I think Trump's a better option of the two, Kamala versus Trump. I think it's Trump. This is me personally. If you like Kamala, you're more than welcome in here, man. We appreciate y'all opinion and y'all view, but he did misspeak. He did lie. Whatever you want to say, that was wrong. Like I said, dial back the stream a little bit. I just debunked that on stream. Shout out S.E.T, doing the background research. There were Haitian immigrants in Clark County, which encompasses Springfield, Ohio. They were holding geese by the neck. There's a police report to back that. But as far as the story about cats getting eaten, that story is actually out of Canton, Ohio. The woman's name is Alexis Farrell. She's an Ohio native. So it was a little bit wrong, but hey, it caught everybody's attention. It wasn't exactly accurate, but hey, it's Trump. You know, he says crazy things sometimes. And shout out Pablo Escobar again for another $5 super chat, man. We appreciate the support. And that's what it's all about, man. You see Kamala 2024, 2028. Look, as an American, as a voter, I feel like it's your right to say and think that. And you're more than welcome in this stream, my guy. Some people say we're pro-Trump. Some people say we're MAGA. I like to say we just two informed guys and we just give our take and our opinion. And sometimes it might align with this or that side, but we try and be as nonpartisan as we can when it comes to this stuff. So we appreciate the support. Appreciate you tapping into today's stream, man. Like the video if you haven't already. Let's get back to the show.
Only challenge we have in the economy. I think it is a part of it, and I've said what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a special
That's what it's all about, man. You ain't got to love Trump.
We're going to enforce the trade deals we have.
You can be Kamala supporter and still support the stream.
We're going to hold people accountable. When I was Secretary of State, we actually increased American exports globally 30%. We increased them to China 50%. So I know how to really work to get new jobs and to get exports that help to create more new jobs.
Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well, I've been a senator.
You haven't done it.
And
you haven't
I
done
have
it.
been a Secretary of State, and I have
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to the manufacturing industry.
That is your opinion.
You go to New England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that debate. But you know that if you did win, you would approve that, and that will be almost as bad as NAFTA. Nothing will ever top NAFTA.
That is just not accurate. I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard. You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but that is not the facts. The facts are, I did say, I hoped
honestly,
it
on
would
both
be
sides, this debate
a good deal, but when it was negotiated, which I was not responsible for, I concluded it wasn't. I wrote about that.
So is it President Obama's fault? Is it President Obama's fault?
Even announced. Look, there
Secretary, is it President Obama's fault?
There are
because he's pushing it.
There are different views about what's good for our country, our economy, and our leadership in the world. And I think it's important to look at what we need to do to get the economy going again. That's why I said new jobs with rising incomes, investments, not in more tax cuts that would add $5 trillion to the debt.
But you have no plan.
Oh, I do.
Secretary,
in fact,
you
I
have no
written
plan.
A book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up tomorrow.
That's about all you
folks. At the bookstore or at an airport near you.
We're going to move to...
But it's because I see this. We need to have strong growth, fair growth, sustained growth. We also have to look at how we help families balance the responsibilities at home and the responsibilities at business. So we have a very robust set of plans, and people who have looked at both of our plans have concluded that mine would create 10 million jobs and yours would lose us 3.5 million jobs and explode.
You are going to approve one of the biggest tax cuts in history. You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history. You are going to drive business out. Your regulations are a disaster, and you're going to increase regulations all over the place. And by the way, my tax cut is the biggest since Ronald Reagan. I'm very proud of it. It will create tremendous numbers of new jobs. But regulations, you are going to regulate these businesses out of existence. When I go around, Lester, I tell you this, I've been all over. And when I go around, despite the tax cut, the things that businesses and people like the most is the fact that I'm cutting regulation. You have regulations on top of regulations, and new companies cannot form, and old companies are going out of business, and you want to increase the regulations and make them even worse. I'm going to cut regulations, but I'm going to cut taxes big league, and you're going to raise taxes big league. End of story.
Let me get you to pause right there, because we're going to move into the next segment. We're going to talk taxes.
That can't be left to stand.
Please take 30 seconds.
I kind of assumed that there would be a lot of these.
Mind you, this is CBS debate from 2016, and the one from last night was ABC. So if some of y'all there said the moderators from last night were biased, it was a 3v1.
Charges and claims. And so we have taken the homepage of my website, HillaryClinton.com, and we've turned it into a fact checker. So if you want to see in real time what the facts are, please go and take a look.
And take a look at mine also, and you'll see.
Add a penny to the debt, and your plan.
And we got over 1,000 of y'all in here, man. Go ahead and show some support to the stream. Double tap the screen. You can also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. We just having some fun with this one. We hopped in the hot tub time machine, like I said. We took it back to 2016. This is what I feel like Trump was kind of missing last night. Personally, for me, I think Kamala did well. She fared well last night. She held her own for 90 minutes. She was able to kind of hit Trump on some points, distract them, make him spew off the BS about the cats and the dogs in Springfield, which we just debunked. But overall, I think Trump still wins in November. That's my personal take. You're free to your own. But he was missing a little bit of chutzpah. He was missing a little bit of charisma. And what we know and love about Trump is just how he kind of gets up there and says what he feels and doesn't hold his tongue or mince words. And that's kind of what he was missing last night. He took it easy on Kamala and he took it easy on the mods. And I figured we dial it back to a time when Trump was, going all in. A time when Trump won all of our approval, or when he caught out of our attention in our eyes. And it makes him the Trump that we know and love, or know and hate today. Like the 2016 Trump, the guy that wasn't scared to say how he felt.
Would add $5 trillion to the debt. What I have proposed would cut regulations and streamline them for small businesses. What I have proposed would be paid for by raising taxes on the wealthy, because they have made all the gains in the economy. And I think it's time that the wealthy and corporations paid their fair share to support this country.
You just opened the next segment.
Well, look, could I just finish? I think I should.
I'm going to give
you a chance right here. And you take a look at her website. She's going to raise taxes $1.3 trillion. Mr. Trump, and look at her website. You know what? It's no different than this. She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
That poll is
the next segment.
Extremely close.
Well, at least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No,
for somebody we hadn't seen in long form content, the longest we've seen is I think an 18-minute interview on CNN with Dana Bash that was edited, and she had walls right there in her corner holding her hand, massaging her shoulder while she gave the interview. It was 90 minutes, y'all. She did well for somebody we haven't seen in that long of form before. She does rallies and she did that interview. What else have we seen from Kamala this election cycle? So for her to be up there on the stage 90 minutes with Trump, she didn't get booed off the stage. He didn't roast her off the stage. That's what we want. That's what we should have seen. He didn't do that, so she held her own. She was able to distract him from a few points, was able to hit him with a couple things, and that's just me being impartial. But it was ultimately, it's hard to say who won last night. I don't think it was the best showing for Trump, and I was pleasantly surprised by Kamala's camp. So it's hard to say who won, particularly last night. I think we should do a second debate. I think both sides should sign on for a second debate, because there wasn't a clear victor from last night. And a lot of people agree with what I just said. And that's my own opinion. I just don't think there was a clear victor from last night. I don't think Trump roasted her, and I don't think Kamala necessarily won. I think she did well, but I don't think she necessarily won. But second debate, let's make it clear. And ultimately, for me, I still think Trump wins come November.
We're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
As impartial as you can be. Obviously, you have to pick a side.
No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
Well, go to the fact checkers, get to work.
You are unpacking a lot here, and we're still on the issue of achieving prosperity. And I want to talk about taxes. The fundamental difference between the two of you concerns the wealthy. Secretary Clinton, you're calling for a tax increase in the wealthiest Americans. I'd like you to further defend that. And Mr. Trump, you're calling for tax cuts for the wealthy. I'd like you to defend that. And this next 2-minute answer goes to you, Mr. Trump.
Well, I'm really calling for major jobs, because the wealthy are going to create tremendous jobs. They're going to expand their companies. They're going to do a tremendous job. I'm getting rid of the carried interest provision. And if you really look, it's not a tax. It's really not a great thing for the wealthy. It's a great thing for the middle class. It's a great thing thing for companies to expand. And when these people are going to put billions and billions of dollars into companies, and when they're going to bring $2.5 trillion back from overseas, where they can't bring the money back because politicians like Secretary Clinton won't allow them to bring the money back because the taxes are so onerous and the bureaucratic red tape. So what is so bad? So what they're doing is they're leaving our country, and they're, believe it or not, leaving because taxes are too high and because some of them have lots of money.
Y'all make sure to like the video.
And instead of
double tap the screen if you're in here. Let's shoot for 200 likes, y'all. 200. Smash that like button.
Everybody agrees it should be brought back. Instead of that,
I don't care if you love Trump or hate him.
Our country to get their money because they can't bring their money back into our country because of bureaucratic red tape, because they can't get together, because we have a president that can't sit them around a table and get them to approve something. And here's the thing. Republicans and Democrats agree that this should be done. $2.5 trillion. I happen to think it's double that. It's probably $5 trillion that we can't bring into our country, Lester. And with a little leadership, you'd get it in here very quickly, and it could be put to use on the inner cities and lots of other things, and it would be beautiful. But we have no leadership. And honestly, that starts with Secretary Clinton.
All right, you have 2 minutes on the same question to defend tax increases on the wealthiest Americans, Secretary Clinton.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Said, why not?
Just join the debate by saying more crazy things. Now, let me say
there's nothing crazy about not letting our companies bring their money back into their country.
You know, one thing I do realize watching this is you can kind of tell that the Clintons and Trump had a relationship clearly, and it was never hidden before Trump crossed over into politics. Like, right, they were both associates of Epstein. Oh my God, Epstein was a socialite. He was friends with all the politicians, all the celebrities, all the entertainers. It's really not saying much. Like, he was a socialite. What he did in the deep, dark corners of his life, not everybody knew about. But I digress. What's clear here is the Clintons and Trump had somewhat of a relationship. What was clear to me last night, really by, Trump not wanting to shake her hand, was that I don't think Trump and Kamala have a relationship at all. I don't think they talk. I don't think they've ever been friendly. I don't think they've ever been cordial. And it was almost apparent last night, like Trump was about to walk right up to his podium and not even shake her hand. She had to meet him on his side of the stage. It's just something I noted.
Very close. 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, let's start the clock again, Lester. We've looked at your tax proposals. I don't see changes in the corporate tax rates or the kinds of proposals you're referring to that would cause the repatriation, bringing back of money that's stranded overseas. I happen to support that. I happen to support that in a way that will actually work to our benefit. But when I look at what you have proposed, you have what is called now the Trump loophole, because it would so advantage you and the business you do. You've proposed an approach that has a $4 billion tax benefit for your family. And when you look at what you are proposing, it is, as I said, trumped up trickle down. Trickle down did not work. It got us into the mess we were in 2008 and 9. Slashing taxes on the wealthy hasn't worked. And a lot of really smart, wealthy people know that. And they are saying, hey, we need to do more to make the contributions we should be making to rebuild the middle class. I don't think top-down works in America. I think building the middle class, investing in the middle class, making college debt-free so more young people can get their education, helping people refinance their debt from college at a lower rate. Those are the kinds of things that will really boost the economy. Broad-based, inclusive growth is what we need in America, not more advantages for people at the very top.
Mr. Trump,
typical politician, all talk, no action, sounds good, doesn't work, never going to happen. Our country is suffering because people like Secretary Clinton have made such bad decisions in terms of our jobs and in terms of what's going on. Now, look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come crashing down. We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble. And we better be awfully careful. And we have a Fed that's doing political things. This Janet Yellen of the Fed. The Fed is doing political by keeping the interest rates at this level. And believe me, the day Obama goes off and he leaves and he goes out to the golf course for the rest of his life to play golf, when they raise interest...
They always say that about the politicians or the presidents, like playing golf, on vacation, at the beach. Like, don't that sound familiar?
Rates, you're going to see some very bad things happen because the Fed is not doing their job. The Fed is being more political than Secretary Clinton.
Mr. Trump, we're talking about the burden that Americans have to pay, yet you have not released your tax returns. And the reason nominees have released their returns for decades is that voters will know if their potential president owes money to, who he owes it to, and any business conflicts. Don't Americans have a right to know if there are any conflicts of interest?
I don't mind releasing. I'm under a routine audit, and it'll be released. And as soon as the audit's finished, it'll be released. But you will learn more about Donald Trump by going down to the federal elections, where I filed a 104-page, essentially financial statement of sorts, the forms that they have. It shows income. In fact, the income, I just looked today, the income is filed at $694 million for this past year. $694 million. If you would have told me I was going to make that 15 or 20 years ago, I would have been very surprised. But that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. When we have a country that's doing so badly, that's being ripped off by every single country in the world, it's the kind of thinking that our country needs.
Video, man. Let's shoot for 200 likes. 200 likes, y'all.
We
so
have
double
a
tap the
trade
screen.
deficit with
3
all
buttons
of
in the
the
upper right-hand
countries
corner.
that we do
Smash
business
that
with
like button.
of almost $800 billion a year. You know what that is? That means who's negotiating these trade deals? We have people that are political hacks negotiating our trade deals.
The IRS has an audit of your taxes. You're perfectly free to release your taxes during an audit. And so the question, does the public's right to know outweigh your personal...
Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit. Look, I've been under audit almost for 15 years. I know a lot of wealthy people that have never been audited.
Yeah, that wouldn't be wise to release it while under an audit. And eventually, what did he do? He released it. But y'all were mad because what it revealed is that business owners, entrepreneurs, the wealthy, there's workarounds for paying absorbent amount in taxes. Like Trump provides jobs. He does real estate. He does very well in both. Yeah, there's incentives, government lined and induced incentives that incentivize these business owners, these corporations, again, the wealthy, to provide jobs, to provide housing for the rest of us. So yeah, they don't pay as much in taxes, or there's workarounds, there's offsets, there's tax breaks, there's tax incentives for those who are doing exactly that. And everybody had their panties in a bunch, and I feel like that's why he didn't release it at first, is because he's just like, look, I'll release it. This is the truth. This is the facts. I ain't hiding nothing. I ain't doing nothing fraudulent, but y'all just ain't gonna like the truth when it comes out that rich people ain't paying as much in taxes as y'all thought they was.
I said, do you get audited? I get audited almost every year. And in a way, I should be complaining. I'm not even complaining. I don't mind it. It's almost become a way of life. I get audited by the IRS, but other people don't. I will say this. We have a situation in this country that has to be taken care of. I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns. And that's against my lawyers. They say, don't do it. I will tell you this. No, in fact, watching shows, reading the papers, almost every lawyer says, you don't release your returns until the audit's complete. When the audit's complete, I'll do it. But I would go against them if she releases her email.
So it's negotiable?
It's not negotiable. No, let her release the email. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her ask that, but let me just admonish the audience one more time. There was an agreement. We did ask you to be silent, so it would be helpful for us. Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think you've just seen another example of bait and switch here. For 40 years, everyone running for president has released their tax returns. You can go and see nearly, I think, 39, 40 years of our tax returns, but everyone has done it. We know the IRS has made clear there is no prohibition on releasing it when you're under audit. So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons.
Appreciate everybody tuning in the
maybe
chat,
he's
man.
not
Go
as
ahead
rich
and like the
as
video.
he says he is.
Double tap that screen, man. You ain't got to love Trump. You ain't got to hate him, man. What's important is we can all get in here, have a conversation in the chat. We've been having a good one so far, so let's keep it going. Like the video. It increases the reach in the algorithm so we can get more folks in here on both sides. You know, we had somebody super chat in earlier who's Kamala 2024. Thanked him for his viewership in his super chat. And that's what it's all about, man. You ain't got to love. We ain't got to always agree with everything the next person says. But what's important is we can have some healthy discourse, you know, agree to disagree and find common ground where there is some. So appreciate everybody tuning in to today's stream. Hopefully y'all been enjoying it. Let's keep it going. But like I said, double tap that screen.
Second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. Third, we don't know all of his business dealings, but we have been told through investigative reporting that he owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks.
Wow.
Or maybe
Literally
he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops,
that makes me smart.
Zero for vets, zero for schools or health.
Like I said, rich people don't pay taxes. Y'all might hate me for saying it. I'm not defending anybody or anything. It's just, bro, if you understand how wealth creation works, generational wealth, you don't get there by paying absorbent amount in taxes. What you do is you offset it through real estate. You offset it through entrepreneurship, providing jobs. There's other ways to offset your taxes when you make a good amount of money. So like he said, him not paying too much taxes, but having the wealth that he does, it makes him smart.
And I think
I know a little bit of something about
he's
the
not all that enthusiastic about
Don't be mad at him,
the
be mad at
rest
the
of
system.
our country see what the real reasons are, because it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And the financial disclosure statement, they don't give you the tax rate. They don't give you all the details that tax returns would. And it just seems to me that this is something that the American people deserve to see. And I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns, because there's something he's hiding. And we'll guess. We'll keep guessing at what it might be that he's hiding. But I think the question is, were he ever to get near the White House, what would be those conflicts? Who does he owe money to? Well, he owes you the answers to that, and he should provide them.
He also raised the issue of your emails. Do you want to respond to that?
I do. You know, I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently. But I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I take responsibility for that.
Mr. Trump?
That was more than a mistake. That was done purposely, okay? That was not a mistake. That was done purposely. When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth so they're not prosecuted, when you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth, I think it's disgraceful. And believe me, this country thinks it's disgraceful. It really thinks it's disgraceful also. As far as my tax returns, you don't learn that much from tax returns, that I can tell you. You learn a lot from financial disclosure. And you should go down and take a look at that. The other thing, I'm extremely underleveraged. The report that said 650, which, by the way, a lot of friends of mine that know my business said, boy, that's really not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money relative to what I had. The buildings that were in question, they said in the same report, which was actually wasn't even a bad story, to be honest with you, but the buildings are worth $3.9 billion. And the 650 isn't even on that, but it's not 650. It's much less than that. But I could give you a list of banks. I would, if that would help you, I would give you a list of banks. These are very fine institutions, very fine banks. I could do that very quickly. I am very underleveraged. I have a great company. I have a tremendous income. And the reason I say that is not in a braggadocious way. It's because it's about time that this country had somebody running it that has an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt, and our country's a mess. You know, it's one thing to have $20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from
now, again, I wouldn't say he's lost a step, and it bothers me when people say that because he's still Trump, but you got to understand the stress of a president, the stress of the political cycle does kind of weigh on you. And yes, he is a little bit diluted from 2016, but I still think that this is in there somewhere. And this is what I wanted to see last night. This is what kind of disappointed me, is that he wasn't on the attack. He wasn't on the go. He wasn't like the Trump that made him the Trump that we know and love, like the guy that doesn't care. Like he's going to say the joke. He's going to say the unfiltered thing. Like that's what made Trump the divisive character, for better or for worse, that he is and is known to be today. He's renowned for it, for God's sake. So where was this energy last night? He went soft on Kamala, and Hillary's more of a formidable foe than Kamala is, I personally believe. And I don't know. It's kind of like he let Kamala off the hook last night, as well as the moderators. If it's a 3v1, I would have turned up. I would have went out on my shield. But again, I think ultimately Trump wins in November. But there was just some moments last night I would have liked to see him capitalize on a little bit better.
A third world country. You land at LaGuardia. You land at Kennedy. You land at LAX. You land at Newark. And you come in from Dubai and Qatar, and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these incredible airports, and you land, we've become a third world country. So the worst of all things has happened. We owe $20 trillion, and we're a mess. We haven't even started. And we've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, according to a report that I just saw, whether it's 6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. And it's really a shame. And it's politicians like Secretary Clinton that have caused this problem. Our country has tremendous problems. We're a debtor nation. We're a serious debtor nation. And we have a country that needs new roads, new tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals. And we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
Let you and respond, maybe because you haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And the other thing I think is important.
It would be squandered too, believe me.
If your main claim to be president of the United States is your business, then I think we should talk about that. You know, your campaign manager said that you built.
Appreciate the $5 super chat from Anubis Raw, man. Shout out. Appreciate the support. Thanks for sending that in. He said, what has this current administration done? Man, what a good question. Well, I can tell you the issues we have. We got an immigration issue. We have infrastructural issues around the country. We have an issue where our leader apparently hasn't talked to Putin in 4 years, so we're at odds with them. Obviously, that's probably heightening and lengthening the situation that we have going on in Ukraine and Russia. They're not taking a hard stance on Netanyahu and Israel, which has also lengthened the Hamas-Israel war. I can't tell you what they've done. I can just tell you where we're at. Now, you might want to ask somebody who's pro-Kamala, pro-Biden, because they might be able to tell you a little bit more. But for me, I can just kind of tell you what it looks like for me, my people, the Americans I know. Yeah, we got an immigration problem, and we got a few proxies we're involved in that are bleeding us dry. Oh, yeah, and gas, foods, and services are pretty expensive right now. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't saying this as a brag. I wish I didn't, actually, but I pay per premium gas, and that shit is not cheap.
A lot of businesses on the backs of little guys. And indeed, I have met a lot of the people who were stiffed by you and your businesses, Donald. I've met dishwashers, painters, architects, glass installers, marble installers, drapery installers, like my dad was, who you refused to pay when they finished the work that you asked them to do. We have an architect in the audience who designed one of your clubhouses at one of your golf courses. It's a beautiful facility. It immediately was put to use, and you wouldn't pay what the man needed to be paid what he was charging you.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, and I was unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do too.
The thousands of people that you have stiffed over the course of your business not deserve some kind of apology from someone who has taken their labor, taken the goods that they produced, and then refused to pay them? I can only say that I'm certainly relieved that my late father never did business with you. He provided a good middle-class life for us, but the people he worked for, he expected the bargain to be kept on both sides. And when we talk about your business, you've taken business bankruptcy
y'all like the stream,
6
man,
times.
double tap the video.
There are a lot of great business
3
people
buttons in the upper right hand corner, man.
have
Show
never
some
taken
support.
bankruptcy
Appreciate
once.
y'all.
You call yourself the king of debt. You talk about leverage. You even at one time suggested that you would try to negotiate down the national debt of the United States. Well, sometimes there's not a direct transfer of skills from business to government, but sometimes what happened in business would be really bad for government.
Let's let Mr.
And
Trump
we need to be very clear about that.
Look, it's all words. It's all sound bites. I built an unbelievable
Word
company.
salad.
Some of the
Sound
greatest
familiar?
assets anywhere in the world, real estate assets anywhere in the world, beyond the United States, in Europe, lots of different places. It's an unbelievable company. But on occasion, 4 times, we used certain laws that are there. And when Secretary Clinton talks about people that didn't get paid, first of all, they did get paid a lot, but taking advantage of the laws of the nation. Now, if you want to change the laws, you've been there a long time, change the laws. But I take advantage of the laws of the nation because I'm running a company. My obligation right now is to do well for myself, my family, my employees, for my companies. And that's what I do. But what she doesn't say is the tens of thousands of people that are unbelievably happy and that love me. I'll give you an example. We're just opening up on Pennsylvania Avenue, right next to the White House. So if I don't get there one way, I'm going to get to Pennsylvania Avenue another. But we're opening the old post office under budget, ahead of schedule, saved tremendous money. I'm a year ahead of schedule. And that's what this country should be doing. We build roads and they cost 2 and 3 and 4 times what they're supposed to cost. For
those of y'all who are just now getting into the stream, man, appreciate you tuning in today. We all seen the stream or the debate, excuse me, from last night. Kamala fans, Trump fans alike, and you guys have, I'm sure, your personal opinion on who won and who lost. For me personally, it wasn't a clear win on either side. I think Trump dropped the ball on a few points. I think Kamala did surprisingly well, but she didn't overwhelmingly dominate. And again, Trump on his behalf, I think if there was a winner, it'd be Trump, but he didn't. He dropped the ball and didn't really hone in on her as much as he should have on a few points. But what I noticed that was missing from last night was the energy, the charisma from 2016 that made Trump such a divisive character, for better or for worse, that we all know, love, or hate. So what I wanted to do for today's stream, debunk a few things. So if you're just now getting here, roll it back. We debunked the myth about the dogs and the cats in Springfield. Watched a little documentary about that. It was really funny. So make sure to scroll the stream back if you're just now getting in here. But what I wanted to do for sure was to go back to 2016, where he did have that energy. He did have that charisma. He did have that oomph. And I think that's what he was missing last night. And it's kind of entertaining and refreshing to see. So we just reminiscing, y'all. We just going back to a time. We hopped in our hot tub time machine and we reminiscing, y'all. So like the video if you just now getting in here. We just going back in time real quick.
We buy products for our military, and they come in at costs that are so far above what they were supposed to be because we don't have people that know what they're doing. When we look at the budget is bad to a large extent because we have people that have no idea as to what to do and how to buy. The Trump International is way under budget and way ahead of schedule, and we should be able to do that for our country.
Well, we're well behind schedule, so I want to move to our next segment. We move into our next segment talking about America's direction, and let's start by talking about race. The share of Americans who say race relations are bad in this country is the highest it's been in decades, much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police as we've seen recently in Charlotte and Tulsa. Race has been a big issue in this campaign, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide and bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide?
Well, Hillary
Secretary Clinton, you get 2 minutes on
quoted,
this.
you ain't...
Well, you're right.
Hillary famously quoted, "I go everywhere with the hot sauce in my purse." You know who she was trying to appeal to. Yeah, you know who she was trying to pander to when she said that. And don't look at me left, man. Y'all know y'all black mama, y'all black sister got a bottle of Louisiana's Best in her purse right now. So you know whose vote she was trying to garner when she said that.
Race remains a significant challenge in our country. Unfortunately, race still determines too much. Often determines where people live, determines what kind of education in their public schools they can get, and yes, it determines how they're treated in the criminal justice system. We've just seen those two tragic examples in both Tulsa and Charlotte. And we've got to do several things at the same time. We have to restore trust between communities and the police. We have to work to make sure that our police are using the best training, the best techniques, that they're well prepared to use force only when necessary. Everyone should be respected by the law, and everyone should respect the law. Right now, that's not the case in a lot of our neighborhoods. So I have, ever since the first day of my campaign, called for criminal justice reform. I've laid out a platform that I think would begin to remedy some of the problems we have in the criminal justice system. But we also have to recognize, in addition to the challenges that we face with policing, there are so many good, brave police officers who equally want reform. So we have to bring communities together in order to begin working on that as a mutual goal. And we've got to get guns out of the hands of people who should not have them.
That's true.
The gun epidemic is the leading cause of death of young African American men, more than the next 9 causes put together. So we have to do 2 things, as I said. We have to restore trust. We have to work with the police. We have to make sure they respect the communities and the communities respect them. And we have to tackle the plague of gun violence, which is a big contributor to a lot of the problems that we're seeing today.
All right, Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes. How do you heal the divide?
Well, first of all, Secretary Clinton doesn't want to use a couple of words, and that's law and order. And we need law and order. If we don't have it, we're not going to have a country. And when I look at what's going on in Charlotte, a city I love, a city where I have investments, when I look at what's going on throughout various parts of our country, whether it's, I mean, I can just keep naming them all day long. We need law and order in our country. And I just got today, as you know, the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. We just came in. We have endorsements from, I think, almost every police group, a large percentage of them in the United States. We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because it's so dangerous. You walk down the street, you get shot. In Chicago,
she really did, honestly.
They've had thousands.
That's why I kind of wanted to dial it back some. Like, for me, more so it was the energy Trump was missing. But even if from the other side, from the Democratic side, like, for those of you who say Kamala's flat, for those of you who say Kamala lacks originality, Hillary kind of had that. I'll be honest. Like, she had a plan. Police reform. I can get behind police reform. Shit. As a black man in America, I can get behind some police reform. So, yeah, I mean, it is kind of refreshing to kind of go back and see their stances, their policy from 8 years ago versus now. Trump's kind of running on some of the same stuff. But Hillary had, I wouldn't say I would have voted for or anything. I was actually 18 at this time, funny enough. But I honestly, Hillary versus Kamala or Hillary or Kamala, I would say Hillary. Let me know how y'all feel on that one.
Thousands since January 1st. Thousands of shootings. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this a war-torn country? What are we doing? And we have to stop the violence. We have to bring back law and order in a place like Chicago where thousands of people have been killed, thousands over the last number of years. In fact, almost 4,000 have been killed since Barack Obama became president. Almost 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York, it brought the crime rate way down. But you take the gun away from criminals that shouldn't be having it. We have gangs roaming the street, and in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants, and they have guns, and they shoot people. And we have to be very strong, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to know what we're doing. Right now, our police, in many cases, are afraid to do anything. We have to protect our inner cities because African American communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York.
A lot of y'all must be new to the channel, and it's all right because I understand we're growing and I understand we're popping up on more people's feeds, coming across more people's algorithms, and I can only be grateful for that as it is a blessing. So if you're new here, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're right around the corner from 15K, so go ahead and join in on the journey. But as far as the comment I made about police reform, yeah, I mean, obviously criminals are going to be criminals and they should be dealt with accordingly, but we're not going to sit here and ignore the instances of police disparity in the police department when it comes to using force on black, white, brown, whatever you are. I'm gonna speak on the black side because I'm black, but ain't nobody for police violence or police using deadly force when they don't have to, and there's countless cases of them doing that. So I can speak on being for police reformation, increased training, sensitivity training. Like, don't nobody want to see nobody dying by police hands. I'm going to speak on the black side because I'm black, but I'm talking about for everybody. White, brown, yellow, orange. Shouldn't nobody be dying by police hands when the situation could have been diffused by a more well-trained or more sensitive police officer, right?
Because it largely singled out black and Hispanic young men.
No, you're wrong.
And I support everybody when some shit go left, we all calling the police. So ain't nobody saying take police out of here. But if we gonna put more money on police and they're just gonna buy guns and become more militarized with it, nah, I think what we need to do is reform the police, maybe put an increased effort, an enhanced effort on sensitivity training, so we don't have cases like the Sonya Massey where she's clearly mental ill, but she gets shot just for a boiling hot pot of water. And who knows how hot it was? Shit, we don't even know if it was boiling hot. They just saying it was, right? So that's where I'm on it. That's the line I stand on it, right? Obviously, accountability is one thing. If you're committing a crime, you're committing a crime. So ain't nobody saying or defending those people in those instances, but there stands to be a reason to improve the sensitivity training for police, right? Not every situation needs to be dealt with a gun and a taser.
A judge who was a very against police judge, it was taken away from her, and our new mayor, refused to go forward with the case. They would have won an appeal. If you look at it throughout the country, there are many places.
The argument is that it's a form of racial profiling.
No, the argument is that we have to take the guns away from these people that have them and that are bad people that shouldn't have them. These are felons. These are people that are bad people that shouldn't be. When you have 3,000 shootings in Chicago from January 1st, when you have 4,000 people killed in Chicago by guns from the beginning of the presidency of Barack Obama, his hometown, you have to have stop and frisk. You need more police. You need a better community relation. You don't have good community relations in Chicago. It's terrible. I have property there. It's terrible what's going on in Chicago.
That's a video that
but when you look, and Chicago's not the only. You go to Ferguson. You go to so many different places.
Nobody wants to see nobody dying
You
by no
need better
police.
relationships.
Protect
I agree
and
with
serve, right?
Secretary Clinton on this. You need better relationships between the communities and the police because in some cases it's not good. But you look at Dallas where the relationships were really studied. The relationships were really a beautiful thing. And then 5 police officers were killed one night very violently.
Appreciate the support, man. Y'all continue to like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well, man. Go ahead and take a look. We were right around the corner from 15K, man. Smash that like and subscription button.
Because the people that are most affected by what's happening are African American and Hispanic people. And it's very unfair to them what our politicians are allowing to happen.
Wow. So he was talking about motherfuckers stealing black jobs in 2016.
I've heard Donald say this at his rallies, and it's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire, negative picture of black communities in our country. You know, the vibrancy of the black church, the black businesses that employ so many people, the opportunities that so many families are working to provide for their kids. There's a lot that we should be proud of and we should be supporting and lifting up. But we do always have to make sure we keep people safe. There are the right ways of doing it, and then there are ways that are ineffective. Stop and frisk was found to be unconstitutional, and in part because it was ineffective. It did not do what it needed to do. Now, I believe in community policing.
Prejudice. It was aggressive.
And in fact, violent.
Let's be honest, it was effective because they could, without discretion, at will go up to you and be like, yo, what you on? Where you came from? What's in your pockets? Now, when they can do shit like that, I'm not saying it's not oppressive. Definitely ain't saying it's right, but we can't sit here and say it ain't work. Bro, when they could just come up to you and be like, yo, where you at? Where you going? What you got on you? That's wild. But that, yo, like we can't sit here and be naive. That was effective for them at that time, which is why they implemented the policy and which is why they had it in place for so long. It wasn't until after so many complaints, after it reached a certain level of notoriety that people were like, whoa, what are y'all doing in New York? Stop and frisk. That's when it was a problem. But it worked for New York for the time being.
Crime is 1/2 of what it was in 1991. Property crime is down 40%. We just don't want to see it creep back up.
And appreciate you, Anubis Raw. Another super chat from you. $20 super chat from Anubis Raw, man. Second super chat of the show. Y'all go like that super chat from Anubis Raw. Are liberals for Americans first? What is their viewpoint other than deflecting from the truth? Help me understand so we can use this as a learning lesson. Ooh, wee. Ooh. Anubis Raw, man. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. You fit right in here, dog, and I couldn't agree more. A lot of this stuff is a distraction, right? I don't know, man. I can't say as somebody who doesn't identify as a liberal. Let's ask the chat. What do some of y'all think? Like, are liberals for America first, or what do we got? Ukraine? What we got? Israel? Like, what we got? Immigrants? So many other things. So many other topics to focus on for liberals and for the left. Personally, I'm America first. I want to see all this shit and all the money, all the attention put on America, its citizens, and our infrastructural issues. But hey, like I said, liberals in the chat, feel free to speak up. He's talking to you.
25 years of very good cooperation, but there were some problems, some unintended consequences. Too many young African American and Latino men ended up in jail for nonviolent offenses.
That, bro. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, bro.
That if you're a young African American man and you do the same thing as a young white man, you are more likely to be arrested, charged, convicted, and incarcerated. So we've got to address the systemic racism in our criminal justice system. We cannot just say law and order. We have to say we have to come forward with a plan that is going to divert people from the criminal justice system, deal with mandatory minimum sentences, which have put too many people away for too long for doing too little. We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system. I want to see them ended in the state system. You shouldn't have a profit motivation to fill prison cells with young Americans. So there are some positive ways we can work on this. And I believe strongly that common sense gun safety measures would assist us right now. And this is something Donald has supported along with the gun lobby. Right now, we've got too many military-style weapons on the streets. In a lot of places, our police are outgunned. We need comprehensive background checks, And we need to keep guns out of the hands of those who will do harm.
Isn't it so funny how we still got the same issues 8 years later? There was just a school shooting in Georgia County or something, somewhere in Georgia a few days ago, last week at some point. All this stuff that they're speaking on in 2016 as prevalent issues facing all Americans, America as a whole, society in America, is shit that we still got going on to this day. Ah, man. I don't know. For me, it just alludes to the point that we really haven't fixed anything, one. And y'all might not like this, but the candidates and the issues that they campaign on, how often times do we see them come into office and really fix the shit? And even if they do, like, isn't the next candidate that's not them just gonna kind of undo all the shit that they did?
And we finally need to pass a prohibition on anyone who's on the terrorist watch list from being able to buy a gun in our country. If you're too dangerous to fly, you are too dangerous to buy a gun. So there are things we can do, and we ought to do it in a bipartisan way.
Secretary Clinton, last week you said we've got to do everything possible to improve policing, to go right at implicit bias. Do you believe that police are implicitly biased against black people?
Lester, I think implicit bias is a problem for everyone, not just police. I think, unfortunately, too many of us in our great country jump to conclusions about each other. And therefore, I think we need all of us to be asking hard questions about, why am I feeling this way? But when it comes to policing, since it can have literally fatal consequences,
scroll the stream back. That was the first thing we reacted to. Was a recap of last night.
Put money into that budget.
We just reminiscing, man. Trump was missing a little bit of He's missing a little bit of charisma from 2016 run. He was missing a little bit of that attack dog, and I don't know. I'm just reminiscing, just scrolling back the time. Hopped in my hot tub time machine, just trying to take y'all back with me, man, because he was missing something from last night, and it's kind of what he ran on in 2016. So we just taking a look at it, reminiscing, going back in time.
Us deal with implicit bias by retraining a lot of our police officers. I've met with a group of very distinguished, experienced police chiefs a few weeks ago. Like the video on the way in, we almost had 200.
Let's smash that like button.
They've got a lot of
double
concern.
Tap the screen.
Mental health is one of the biggest concerns because now police are having to handle a lot of really difficult mental health problems on the street. They want support. They want more training. They want more assistance. And I think the federal government could be in a position where we would offer and provide that.
I'd like to respond.
Please.
First of all, I agree, and a lot of people, even within my own party, want to give certain rights to people on watch lists and no-fly lists. I agree with you. When a person is on a watch list or a no-fly list, and I have the endorsement of the NRA, which I'm very proud of. These are very, very good people, and they're protecting the Second Amendment. But I think we have to look very strongly at no-fly lists and watch lists. And when people are on there, even if they shouldn't be on there, we'll help them. We'll help them legally. We'll help them get off. But I tend to agree with that quite strongly. I do want to bring up the fact that you were the one that brought up the word super predator about young black youth.
Oh, boy.
And that's a term that I think was it's been horribly met, as you know. I think you've apologized for it. But I think it was a terrible thing to say. And when it comes to stop and frisk, you're talking about taking guns away. Well, I'm talking about taking guns away from gangs and people that use them. And I really don't think you disagree with me on this, if you want to know the truth. I think maybe there's a political reason why you can't say it, but I really don't believe. In New York City, stop and frisk, we had 2,200 murders, and stop and frisk brought it down to 500 murders. 500 murders is a lot of murders. Hard to believe. 500 is like supposed to be good. But we went from 2,200 to 500, and it was continued on by Mayor Bloomberg, and it was terminated by current mayor. But stop and frisk had a tremendous impact on the safety of New York City, tremendous beyond belief. So when you say it has no impact, it really did. It had a very, very big impact.
Well, it's also fair to say, if we're going to talk about mayors, that under the current mayor, crime has continued to drop, including murders. So there is...
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Murders are up. All right, you'll check.
New York has done an excellent job, and I give credit. I give credit across the board, going back to mayors, to police chiefs, because it has worked, and other communities need to come together to do what will work as well. Look, one murder is too many. But it is important that we learn about what has been effective and not go to things that sound good that really did not have the kind of impact that we would want. Who disagrees with keeping neighborhoods safe? But let's also add, no one should disagree about respecting the rights of young men who live in those neighborhoods. And so we need to do a better job of working again with the communities, faith communities.
We got over 1,100 of y'all in here, man. Double tap the screen right now. Like the video. You can also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. Let's get some more folks in here. Y'all probably wondering, like, damn, why is this man playing a Trump-Hillary debate from 2016? Like I said, man, we all seen the debate from last night. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's probably reacted to it at this point in time. We seen it, right? We was able to take it in, all good. Trump was missing a little something from last night. It was the energy that he ran and won him so much support in 2016. And like I said, I just wanted to take it back a little bit, kind of remind and refresh everybody kind of what made Trump popular. He was missing that element last night. He had it in 2016 and here on this debate against Hillary. And we just kind of reminisce, and that's all.
Business communities as well as the police to try to deal with this problem.
This conversation is about race. And so, Mr. Trump, I have to ask you.
But I'd like to just respond, if I might.
Please, 20 seconds.
I'd just like to respond.
Please respond, then I've got to follow up.
Look, the African-American community.
Way more of an impartial moderator, honestly. Honestly, way more. They've both got to talk their ish. They both got to say what they wanted to say. Ain't really been interrupted too many times. The live mics on both sides I like. The audience ain't really had too much input, but I don't know. I think this debate setting in 2016 was a lot better than the one from last night.
Community has been let down by our politicians.
Network,
they
mods,
talk good around election time, like
mics.
right now. And after the election, they said, see you later. I'll see you in 4 years. The African-American community, look, the community within the inner cities has been so badly treated. They've been abused and used in order to get votes by Democrat politicians, because that's what it is. They've controlled these communities for up to 100 years.
Mr. Trump, let me...
Unbroken. And I will tell you, you look at the inner cities, and I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and I just, you've seen me. I've been all over the place. You decided to stay home, and that's okay. But I will tell you, I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet within these communities, and they are very, very upset with what their politicians have told them and what their politicians have done.
Mr. Trump,
I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared to be president. And I think that's a good thing.
Mr. Trump, for 5 years, you perpetuated a false claim that the nation's first black president was not a natural-born citizen. You questioned his legitimacy. In the last couple of weeks, you acknowledged what most Americans have accepted for years: the president was born in the United States. Can you tell us what took you so long?
I'll tell you just very simple to say. Sidney Blumenthal works for the campaign and very close friend of Secretary Clinton. And her campaign manager, Patty Doyle, went to, during the campaign, her campaign against President Obama, fought very hard. And you can go look it up and you can check it out. And if you look at CNN this past week, Patty Solis Doyle was on Wolf Blitzer saying that this happened. Blumenthal sent McClatchy, highly respected reporter at McClatchy, to Kenya to find out about it. They were pressing it very hard. She failed to get the birth certificate. When I got involved, I didn't fail. I got him to give the birth certificate. So I'm satisfied with it, and I'll tell you why I'm satisfied with it.
That was
because I want to get on to defeating ISIS, because I want to get on to creating jobs, because I want to get on to having a strong border, because I want to get on to things that are very important to me and that are very important to the country.
I'll let you respond. That's important, but I just want to get the answer here. The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January. So the question is, What changed your mind?
Well, nobody was pressing it. Nobody was caring much about it. I figured you'd ask the question tonight, of course, but nobody was caring much about it. But I was the one that got him to produce the birth certificate, and I think I did a good job. Secretary Clinton also fought it. I mean, now everybody in mainstream is going to say, oh, that's not true. Look, it's true. Sidney Blumenthal sent a reporter. You just have to take a look at CNN last week, the interview with your former campaign manager, and she was involved. But just like she can't bring back jobs, she can't produce.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to follow up, and I will let you respond to that because if there's a lot there, but we're talking about racial healing in this segment. What do you say to Americans?
Well, it was I say nothing. I say nothing because I was able to get him to produce it. He should have produced it a long time before. I say nothing. But let me just tell you, when you talk about healing, I think that I've developed very, very good relationships over the last little while with the African American community. I think you can see that. And
Trump has some support from the black community in 2016, despite popular belief, despite what they try to tell you about the man. He's racist, he's divisive, he doesn't care about y'all, whatever, what have you. He has some support from the black community. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was way more controversial to support that man back then in 2016. You walked around the hood with a red hat on it, didn't even have to say MAGA. You might get knocked the hell out. I ain't going to lie to you. And it's just because of what the news media was telling us, the message that they purported on this man, the lies that they really sold. But this time around, 2024, 8 years later, it's a little bit more understandable. It's a little bit more accepted to vote Trump. I mean, look who he's running against, for God's sakes. It's Kamala. So, honestly, all the bullshit that they say about the man aside, if you look at policy alone, I don't understand how you can really side with Kamala's over Trump's. And I mean, again, I like to make this analogy. I'm not sure it's the best one, but we're at a cookout. We got two options. We're tired of them both, right? Hot dog and hamburger. Just because I say hamburger doesn't mean I love hamburger. There's no flaws in hamburger. Hamburger can do no wrong. It's just that I got two options, and I'm going to go with hamburger. I think it's the better option for me right now, and that's just how I feel about Trump. Is he perfect? Nah. Do we got his flaws? Yeah, but hot dog, hamburger, I'm going hamburger.
I feel that they really wanted me to come to that conclusion, and I think I did a great job and a great service, not only for the country, but even for the president in getting him to produce his birth certificate.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, just listen to what you heard. And
what did I hear?
Clearly, as Donald just admitted, he knew he was going to stand on this debate stage and Lester Holt was going to be asking us questions. So he tried to put the whole racist birther lie to bed. But it can't be dismissed that easily. He has really started his political activity based on this racist lie that our first black president
Y'all funny as hell
was not an American citizen.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everybody
there
in the chat, man. Like the
no
video,
evidence
double
for
tap
it,
the screen.
but he persisted. He persisted year after year because some of
I don't
his
care what side you're on,
supporters, people that he was trying to bring into his fold, apparently believed it or wanted to believe it. But remember, Donald started his career back in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent apartments in one of his developments to African Americans, and he made sure that the people who worked for him understood that was the policy. He actually was sued twice by the Justice Department. So he has a long record of engaging in racist behavior. And the birther lie was a very hurtful one. You know, Barack Obama is a man of great dignity, and I could tell how much it bothered him and annoyed him that this was being touted and used against him. But I like to remember what Michelle Obama said in her amazing speech at our Democratic National Convention. When they go low, we go high. And Barack Obama went high.
That's true, but even I think a lot of the women in this country can read through the bullshit, read through the identity politics that they're trying to throw at them. And Kamala just hasn't really said too much. All she's been able to do is pander. All she's been able to do is cackle across the stage. Like now, if she said some shit that people could really resonate with, if she said some shit that was really pro-woman, like what's the most pro-woman stance she has? Abortion? Trump isn't trying to ban abortion. He said it last night on the stage, and I'm glad he said it. He disavowed Project 2025. He stood in line with in vitro fertilization and abortion. What he said is he wants to return the decision to the states because how you feel about abortion is going to vary vastly depending on if you grew up in Cali versus if you grew up in Texas, right? So that's an understandable play. And I don't think that needs to be regulated federally. Me personally, that's my belief. And that decision allows for the access abortion to still be had. And to that point, to add on to that, he also said he's for abortion in these 3 cases, regardless of where you stay. Grape, danger to the mother's health, and incest. Right, as well as abortion of access to abortions, safe abortions under 6 weeks. So Trump isn't trying to ban abortion like most people tend to think, and I think that's Kamala's most pro-female woman stance, and Trump almost matched her on it. So I just don't see how when you weigh it out, when you look at both sides, a lot of the stuff that Kamala has going for her is Biden or is Biden's 2.0 policy, or it's piggybacked off of Trump's. I'm questioning where her originality lies in her campaign. And I think a lot of people are starting to be able to see through that. So for me personally, it's Trump 2024. If you're Kamala 2024, we still appreciate your viewership. Both sides welcome in here. It's a open debate, open discussion we hold in the chat. But yeah, personally for me, I just think it's Trump 2024.
Donald Trump's best efforts to bring him down.
Mr. Trump, you can respond, then we're going to move on to the next segment.
I would love to respond. First of all, I got to watch in preparing for this some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated him with terrible disrespect. And I watched the way you talk now about how lovely everything is and how wonderful you are. It doesn't work that way. You were after him. You were trying to. You even sent out, or your campaign sent out, pictures of him in a certain garb. Very famous pictures. I don't think you can deny that. But just last week, your campaign manager said it was true. So when you try to act holier than thou, it really doesn't work. It really doesn't. Now, as far as the lawsuit, yes,
right around the corner from 15K, y'all. Right around the corner from 15K, y'all. If y'all in here right now, and it's almost 700 of y'all that are, man, I don't ask for much. Like the video. Let's get some more folks in here as we round the stream out, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, man. Like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, man. Road to 15K, man. It's been a journey. So we appreciate the support, man. Don't ask for too much. It's free. Like and subscribe, man. Appreciate y'all.
I went into my father's company, had a real estate company in Brooklyn and Queens, and we, along with many, many other companies throughout the country, it was a federal lawsuit, were sued. We settled the suit with no admission of guilt. It was very easy to do, but they sued many people. I notice you bring that up a lot, and I also noticed the very nasty commercials that you do on me in so many different ways, which I don't do on you. Maybe I'm trying to save the money, but frankly,
I see y'all, man. I see those likes rolling in. I see those subscriptions rolling in, man. Let's keep going. We appreciate y'all.
That lawsuit with no admission of guilt, but that was a lawsuit brought against many real estate firms, and it's just one of those things. I'll go on one step further. In Palm Beach, Florida, tough community, a brilliant community, a wealthy community, probably the wealthiest community there is in the world. I opened a club and really got great credit for it. No discrimination against African Americans, against Muslims, against anybody. And it's a tremendously successful club.
Chat, everybody.
And I'm so glad I did it. And I have been given great credit for what I did, and I'm very, very proud of it. And that's the way I feel. That is the true way I feel.
Our next segment is called Securing America.
They always try to call this man selfish. Even if you scroll back the clock, like really was always trying to put that selfish for himself label on Trump. And I'm just like, if you really know anything about this man, like even Jesse Jackson that came out and said like, nah, he's a selfless man. He's for blacks. Like anything that you've seen or known about this man prior to his transition into politics would lend to the fact that he's a personable guy. He's a personable guy. They asked Elton John the other day, Trump had came out and made a joke about Kim Jong-il saying he's Rocket Man, right? And they try to get Elton John to kind of like disavow Trump and talk shit about him. He was like, nah, I thought it was funny. He's always been a fan of mine. I've been a fan of his. Shout out to him. So if you go back in the timeline into the history, Trump has always been a friendly guy. People love him, celebrities and civilians alike. So much so to even back in the 90s when he would give out loans, he would give out favorable term loan agreements to people who were getting loans from him. And then when it was time to pay the loan or when it was time to renegotiate the loan, he would ask them if they were happy and tear it right up. Right now, these are reports and stories, but this is what they say about the man that they try and tell and paint as a big, bad, evil orange man, selfish only for himself. Yes, he was a beloved man at some point in this country.
We want to start with a 21st century war happening every day in this country. Our institutions are under cyber attack and our secrets are being stolen. So my question is, who's behind it and how do we fight it? Secretary Clinton, this answer goes to you.
Well, I think cybersecurity, cyber warfare will be one of the biggest challenges facing the next president, because clearly we're facing at this point two different kinds of adversaries. There are the independent hacking groups that do it mostly for commercial reasons, to try to steal information that they then can use to make money. But increasingly, we are seeing cyber attacks coming from states, organs of states. The most recent and troubling of these has been Russia. There's no doubt now that Russia has used cyber attacks against all kinds of organizations in our country, and I am deeply concerned about this. I know Donald's very praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin, but Putin is playing a really tough, long game here. And one of the things he's done is to let loose cyber attackers to hack into government files, to hack into personal files, hack into the Democratic National Committee. And we recently have learned
wasn't the
that
NSA and social media companies already doing that?
Preferred methods of trying to wreak havoc and collect information. We need to make it very clear, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, or anybody else, the United States has much greater capacity. And we are not going to sit idly by and permit state actors to go after our information, our private sector information or our public sector information. And we're going to have to make it clear that we don't want to use the kinds of tools that we have. We don't want to engage in a different kind of warfare, but we will defend the citizens of this country. And the Russians need to understand that. I think they've been treating it as almost a probing. How far would we go? How much would we do? And that's why I was so shocked when Donald publicly invited Putin to hack into Americans. That is just unacceptable. It's one of the reasons why 50 national security officials who served in Republican administration have said that Donald is unfit to be the commander-in-chief. It's comments like that that really worry people who understand the threats that we face.
Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes in the same question. Who's behind it? And how do we fight
I do want to say that I was just endorsed, and more are coming next week. It'll be over 200 admirals, many of them are here, admirals and generals endorsed me to lead this country. That just happened, and many more are coming, and I'm very proud of it. In addition, I was just endorsed by ICE. They've never endorsed anybody before on immigration. I was just endorsed.
ICE and Border Patrol standing right next to Trump. That's funny. That says a lot, though. That says a lot. It says current administration, which at the time was Obama, they couldn't really get behind him. His predecessor would have been Mrs. Hillary Clinton. They couldn't get behind her. So Trump, with his strong stance on the border and immigration, got that cosign from ICE and Border Patrol. Crazy.
Endorsed by ICE. I was just recently endorsed 16,500 Border Patrol agents. So when Secretary Clinton talks about this, I mean, I'll take the admirals and I'll take the generals any day over the political hacks that I see that have led our country so brilliantly over the last 10 years with their knowledge, okay? Because look at the mess that we're in. Look at the mess that we're in. As far as the cyber, I agree. to parts of what Secretary Clinton said. We should be better than anybody else, and perhaps we're not. I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay? You don't know who broke in to DNC, but what did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of by your people, by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Look what happened to her. But Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of. That's what we learned. Now, whether that was Russia, whether that was China, whether it was another country, we don't know. Because the truth is, under President Obama, we've lost control of things that we used to have control over. We came in with the internet, we came up with the internet, and I think Secretary Clinton and myself would agree very much when you look at what ISIS is doing with the internet, they're beating us at our own game, ISIS. So we have to get very, very tough on cyber and cyber warfare. It is a huge problem. I have a son, he's 10 years old. He has computers. He is so good with these computers, it's unbelievable. The security aspect of cyber is very, very tough, and maybe it's hardly doable. But I will say we are not doing the job we should be doing. But that's true throughout our whole governmental society.
Currently has
we
now.
have so many things that we have to do better, Lester, and certainly cyber is one of them.
Secretary Clinton?
Well, I think there are a number of issues that we should be addressing. I have put forth a plan to defeat ISIS. It does involve going after them online. I think we need to do much more with our tech companies to prevent ISIS and their operatives from being able to use the internet to radicalize, even direct people in our country and Europe and elsewhere. But we also have to intensify our air strikes against ISIS and eventually support our Arab and Kurdish partners to be able to actually take out ISIS in Raqqa and their claim of being a caliphate. We're making progress. Our military is assisting in Iraq, and we're hoping that within the year we'll be able to push ISIS out of Iraq and then, really squeeze them in Syria. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that
pink
they've
Moscato,
had foreign fighters coming to volunteer for them, foreign money, foreign weapons. So we have to make this the top priority, and I would also do everything possible to take out their leadership. I was involved in a number of efforts to take out al-Qaeda leadership when I was Secretary of State, including
Y'all feel free to super chat into the channel as well if you want to show some support. If you got something you want to get off your chest, thoughts, comments, questions, jokes, disagreements even. You can love Trump, you can hate him. Let me know. It's an engaging stream that we like to host here. So $1 or more super chat. I'll read your super chat aloud. We still got over 800 of y'all in here, so it's been a fire stream. We're heading on 3 hours, man. Hopefully y'all been enjoying the stream, man. I've had a good time myself. But we're right around the corner from 15K, man. I think we're about 55 subscribers off. So do me a favor, man. If you're in here right now, double tap the screen. Not only that, but head to the channel, subscribe, leave the post notifications on, man. S.E.T Media, we're live every day, man. So before we blow up and y'all catch us on the back end, y'all might as well join the army, join the military, join the gang now. S.E.T Media is more of a movement, a community than anything. We happy to have y'all here. Let's continue to stream.
Of course, taking out bin Laden, and I think we need to go after Baghdadi as well. Make that one of our organizing principles, because we've got to defeat ISIS, and we've got to do everything we can to disrupt their propaganda efforts online.
You mentioned ISIS, and we think of ISIS certainly as over there, but there are American citizens who have been inspired to commit acts of terror on American soil. The latest incident, of course, the bombings we just saw in New York and New Jersey, the knife attack at a mall in Minnesota, and the last year, deadly attacks in San Bernardino and Orlando. I'll ask this to both of you. Tell us specifically how you would prevent homegrown attacks by American citizens, Mr. Trump.
Well, first I have to say one thing, very important. Secretary Clinton is talking about taking out ISIS. We will take out ISIS. Well, President Obama and Secretary Clinton created a vacuum the way they got out of Iraq, because they got out, they shouldn't have been in, but once they got in, the way they got out was a disaster. And ISIS was formed. So she talks about taking them out. She's been doing it a long time. She's been trying to take them out for a long time. But they wouldn't have even been formed if they left some troops behind, like 10,000 or maybe something more than that. And then you wouldn't have had them. Or, as I've been saying for a long time, and I think you'll agree because I said it to you once, had we taken the oil, and we should have taken the oil, ISIS would not have been able to form either because the oil was their primary source of income. And now they have the oil all over the place, including the oil, a lot of the oil in Libya, which was another one of her disasters.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I hope the fact checkers are turning up the volume and really working hard. Donald supported the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
He actually advocated for the actions we took in Libya and urged that Gaddafi be taken out after actually doing some business with him one time. But the larger point, he says this constantly, is George W. Bush made the agreement about when American troops would leave Iraq, not Barack Obama. And the only way that American troops could have stayed in Iraq is to get an agreement from the then Iraqi government that would have protected our troops. And the Iraqi government would not give that. But let's talk about the question you asked, Lester. The question you asked is, what do we do here in the United States? That's the most important part of this. How do we prevent attacks? How do we protect our people? And I think we've got to have an intelligence surge where we are looking for every scrap of information. I was so proud of law enforcement in New York, in Minnesota, in New Jersey. You know, they responded so quickly, so professionally to the attacks that occurred by Rahami. And they brought him down. And we may find out more information because he is still alive, which may prove to be an intelligence benefit. So we've got to do everything we can to vacuum up intelligence from Europe, from the Middle East. That means we've got to work more closely with our allies. And that's something that Donald has been very dismissive of. We're working with NATO, the longest military alliance in the history of the world, to really turn our attention to terrorism. We're working with our friends in the Middle East, many of which, as you know, are Muslim majority nations. Donald has consistently insulted Muslims abroad, Muslims at home, when we need to be cooperating with Muslim nations and with the American Muslim community. They're on the front lines.
That's a stance I can get behind. That's surprising. I don't remember her having that stance. Like, Muslims for Hillary? That's crazy. I can side with that. I can side with that. We don't need to be alienating our Muslim brothers. I mean, the ones that are here legally, yeah, we need to side with them. Make it a hospitable environment for all Americans, regardless of race, creed, nationality, or religious belief.
To us that we might not get anywhere else.
If you're here, man, you're here. Buy into America and let's make the best of it.
With law enforcement in these communities, not be alienated and pushed away, as some of Donald's rhetoric, unfortunately, has led to.
Mr.
Well, I'd have to respond.
Please respond.
The secretary said very strongly about working with. We've been working with them for many years. And we have the greatest mess anyone's ever seen. You look at the Middle East, it's a total mess. Under your direction to a large extent. But you look at the Middle East, you started the Iran deal. That's another beauty where you have a country that was ready to fall. I mean, they were doing so badly. They were choking on the sanctions. And now they're going to be actually probably a major power at some point pretty soon, the way they're going. But when you look at NATO, I was asked on a major show, what do you think of NATO? And you have to understand, I'm a business person. I did really well, but I have common sense. And I said, well, I'll tell you, I haven't given lots of thought to NATO, but two things. Number one, the 28 countries of NATO, many of them aren't paying their fair share. Number two, and that bothers me because we should be, yes, we're defending them and they should at least be paying us what they're supposed to be paying by treaty and contract. And number two, I said, and very strongly, NATO could be
And regardless of who gets in come November, Kamala, Trump, listen, I'm here to tell y'all they're not going to drastically change your financial situation. Now, does it make a difference? Yes, obviously that's why we have the election. Obviously that's why there's two different candidates. But as far as them changing the amount of dollars in your bank account, you're gonna have to do that yourself. If y'all new to the channel, I hang my hat on that point exactly. Like, you ain't gonna have Donald Trump get in. For those of y'all who say he's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur. Yes, he is, but he ain't gonna take you from 0 to $1 million. That's gonna have to be done by yourself. If you want to change your situation, it's gonna be accountability and discipline, and you're gonna improve yourself, your community, your families, and then that's gonna improve the America around you, right? So we do need to start taking some accountability about the condition the country is in. Stop putting so much faith and belief in these politicians when, like I said at the beginning of this 2016 debate, they're still campaigning off the same shit that they were saying 8 years ago. Half of this shit ain't fixed. So we're going to have to look within ourselves, look to the American citizen sitting next to us and sitting to the left of us and say this shit is up to us. If we want to improve America, if we want better politicians in place, if we want a more a candidate that represents the people, the populace more, then we're going to have to take it into account. We're going to have to take the responsibility and change it on our own hands. And if, like I said, if you want to get some money, if you want to change your financial situation, that's going to be up to you as well. Hillary, Trump, Kamala, Walz, Vance, any politician aside, they ain't going to change your bank account, bro. That's up to you.
Obsolete because, and I was very strong on this, and it was actually covered very accurately in the New York Times, which is unusual for the New York Times, to be honest. But I said they do not focus on terror. And I was very strong, and I said it numerous times. And about 4 months ago, I read on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that NATO is opening up a major terror division. And I think that's great. And I think we should get, because we pay approximately 73% of the cost of NATO. It's a lot of money to protect other people. But I'm all for NATO. But I said they have to focus on terror also. And they're going to do that. And that was, believe me, I'm sure I'm not going to get credit for it, but that was largely because of what I was saying and my criticism of NATO. I think we have to get NATO to go into the Middle East with us, in addition to surrounding nations, and we have to knock the hell out of ISIS, and we have to do it fast. When ISIS formed in this vacuum created by Barack Obama and Secretary Clinton, and believe me, you were the ones.
And make sure to like the video if you're still in here, man. We got almost 600 of y'all that still are. It's just crossed over 3 hours, man. We going strong, man. We gonna finish this video out, though, because that's what I do, man. We do it for y'all. It's the dedication to y'all, man. We do this shit for y'all. But all jokes aside, man, like the video, double tap the screen, as well as, man, we are right there from 15K, right there. I think we're like 40 subs away. 40 subs. So if you're in here right now, man, go ahead and hit the subscription button. Yeah, most of y'all been in here the whole time, which is crazy. So we've been having a great time. It's been a fire stream. Hopefully y'all been enjoying the content. Subscribe. Y'all don't want to miss out on this content. We're live every day. Scroll our catalog, man. We don't just cover politics. We got dating. We got a podcast we do. It's mad content in there. Y'all find something you'll love. Hopefully y'all been enjoying the stream, like I said. Go ahead and support. Like and subscribe. We're right there around 15K, man. Appreciate the support.
That took out the troops. Not only that, you named the day. They couldn't believe it. They sat back probably and said, I can't believe it. They said, no, wait a minute.
We've covered
when they formed, this is something that never should have happened.
More boisterous.
Never happened.
Wasn't scared to speak over ISIS, folks.
But you were there, and you were
This is
Secretary
his
of
stage.
State
They
when
just
it was a
walking
little
on
infant. Now it's in over
that 2016
30 countries.
Trump, man.
And you're going to stop them? I don't think so.
Mr. Trump, with a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your judgment?
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her, because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is mainstream media.
My question is, since you
would you like to hear?
Why is your
I was against the war. Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq, just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise.
The record does not show that.
Why is your judgment?
The record shows that I'm right. When I did an interview...
No. And normally I like to only interact when folks super chat in. Nothing more than nothing more than it's just kind of hard to keep up with every chat that comes in. A lot of y'all be super chatting or sending in chats fast, and it's kind of hard to track everything that comes in. But I see something in here I want to address. Now, when I say it doesn't matter who you pick, I'm not sure if that's exactly what I said, but if I did, let me clarify. Who you pick is up to you. But when it comes to changing your situation, when it comes to if you got $0 in your account today and you want $1 million in your account by Friday, lofty goals, right? That's up to you, my man. Trump ain't gonna help you do that. Kamala ain't gonna help you do that. Now their policies, they might make your dollar stretch further. They might put a child tax credit that helps you out a little bit in the back end. I get all that. Politics aside, we put too much emphasis, we weigh too much value on the candidate that we get in, when if you really want to improve your situation immediately, it's going to be up to you. And I stand on that 10 toes down. And if you don't like what I'm saying there, we can agree to disagree, right? But I will die on the hill. Like, bro, if you want to change your situation, if you want to do well for yourself, if you want success for your family, your community around you, it's going to come from you, bro. Ain't no politician about to put in a policy that makes us all millionaires. It don't work like that, G. It don't work like that. And if you think it do, you've been sold a lie. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to change your situation, grow from mediocre to great man, it's going to take some work on your behalf, responsibility. I don't care what you got to do. Side hustle, get that extra job, entrepreneurship. It don't matter. Yeah, the policy or the candidate with the policy that's pro-entrepreneur, y'all get what I'm saying. You might get some help from the candidate in the back end, child tax credit, tax cut, whatever, right? SBA, all that good stuff aside, policy aside, we can harp on that all day, which we already have. But if you truly want to improve your situation, get some racks, get some bands, as I like to say, it's going to be you. And I stand on that.
With Howard Stern, very lightly, first time anyone's asked me that, I said, very lightly, I don't know, maybe, who knows, essentially. I then did an interview with Neil Cavuto. We talked about the economy is more important. I then spoke to Sean Hannity, which everybody refuses to call Sean Hannity. I had numerous conversations with Sean Hannity at Fox, and Sean Hannity said, and he called me the other day, and I spoke to him about it. He said, you were totally against the war, because he was for the war.
Why is your judgment better than...
And that was before the war started. Sean Hannity said very strongly to me and other people, he's willing to say, but nobody wants to call him, I was against the war. He said, you used to have fights with me because Sean was in favor of the war. And I understand that side also, not very much because we should have never been there. But nobody called Sean Hannity. And then they did an article in a major magazine shortly after the war started, I think in 2004, but they did an article which had me totally against the war in Iraq. And one of your compatriots said, you know, whether it was before or right after, Trump was definitely, because if you read this article, there's no doubt. But if somebody, and I'll ask the press, if somebody would call up Sean Hannity, this was before the war started, he and I used to have arguments about the war. I said it's a...
And again, to even more deeply clarify on the point I just made, yes, the policy that the politician enacts does have effects on our lives. Yes, obviously, clearly, nobody's negating that fact. But like I said, there's no policy that any politician is going to implement to take you from mediocre to greatness, to take you from zero to millionaire. That's all on you. That's on you. If you don't care, hey, that's fine. Some of us want success. Some of us want the finer things in life. Some of us want to do well for those and for us and those around us. Those are who I'm speaking to, the ambitious. But if you okay, if you just want, one of these politicians to hand you a stipend or hand you a check in the mail, it might come. It might come. You just keep waiting. Keep waiting. It might come. But for those of you who want to get it on your own, bro, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some accountability.
Terrible and a stupid thing. It's going to destabilize the Middle East, and that's exactly what it's done. It's been a disaster.
My reference was to what you had said in 2002, and my question was, why is your judgment any different than Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I have much better judgment than she does. There's no question about that. I also have a much better temperament than she has. I have a much better. She spent, let me tell you, she spent hundreds of millions of dollars on an advertising, they get Madison Avenue into a room, they put names, temperament, let's go after. I think my strongest asset, maybe by far, is my temperament. I have a winning temperament. I know how to win. She does not know how to win.
Clinton.
Wait, the AFL-CIO the other day, behind the blue screen, I don't know who you were talking to, Secretary Clinton, but you were totally out of control. I said, there's a person with a temperament that's got a problem.
Secretary Clinton.
Woo, okay. Let's talk about two important issues that were briefly mentioned by Donald. First, NATO. You know, NATO as a military alliance has something called Article 5, and basically it says this: an attack on one is an attack on all. And you know the only time it's ever been invoked? After 9/11, when the 28 nations of NATO said that they would go to Afghanistan with us to fight terrorism, something that they still are doing by our side. With respect to Iran, when I became Secretary of State, Iran was weeks away from having enough nuclear material to form a bomb. They had mastered the nuclear fuel cycle under the Bush administration. They had built covert facilities. They had stocked them with centrifuges that were whirling away. And we had sanctioned them. I voted for every sanction against Iran when I was in the Senate, but it wasn't enough. So I spent a year and a half putting together a coalition that included Russia and China to impose the toughest sanctions on Iran. And we did drive them to the negotiating table. And my successor, John Kerry, and President Obama got a deal that put a lid on Iran's nuclear program without firing a single shot. That's diplomacy. That's coalition building. That's working with other nations. The other day, I saw Donald saying that there were some Iranian sailors on a ship in the waters off of Iran, and they were taunting American sailors who were on a nearby ship. He said, you know, if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water and start another war.
What?
That's
serious?
not good judgment.
Come on,
that is
y'all.
not
Y'all
the
can't
right
really be
temperament
serious
to
in the
be
chat
commander-in-chief.
Come on, man. Because if I tell y'all it's up for y'all to make yourselves millionaires or successful, whatever it is in your own right. If you don't want to be a millionaire, six-figure earner, whatever. If I tell y'all that's up to y'all, why y'all turning it back on me? Oh, bro, you don't get it. You ain't never been through no hard times. Like, bro, I ain't rich now. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm in this shit with y'all. Understanding, it's just my perspective is one that understands, like, bro, Trump ain't gonna give me no meals. He might make it easier. He might create an environment that's more conducive to getting some M's, but he ain't gonna put it in my bank account, bro. And the same thing for Kamala. I don't get why that triggered y'all. Like, if y'all want to be successful, if y'all want to up y'all earnings, it might not be a millionaire, but if y'all want to go from 50 to 100, 100 to 2, it's gonna be up to you. It's gonna be up to you. Increase your income, increase your skill, increase your value. It's gonna be up to you. It's gonna be one of those things that does so. Ain't gonna be no stipend. It ain't gonna be no mail-in rebate from the government, from Uncle Sam, that gives you $1 million. It just ain't gonna happen.
And the worst part of what we've heard Donald say has been about nuclear weapons. He has said repeatedly that he didn't care if other nations got nuclear weapons, Japan, South Korea, even Saudi Arabia. It has been the policy of the United States, Democrats and Republicans, to do everything we could to reduce the proliferation of nuclear weapons. He even said, well, if there were a nuclear war in the East Asia, well, I guess, that's fine. Have a good time, folks.
That's that victim mindset,
and in fact,
that people be talking about.
His cavalier attitude about nuclear weapons
like,
is
how is
so
me telling
deeply
y'all that you're gonna have to get your own money? How? Oh, you're wrong, bro. They should give it to us. Like, bro, come on.
Troubling. That is the number one
be
threat we face in the world, and
you're gonna be waiting for forever for a government handout. You better off building some shit up with your homies, building some shit up with your friends, your community, helping each other out, right? Striving for success in the family unit, with the community, with some, like I said, with some homies, some like-minded individuals. Hop on a team with some like-minded individuals, a mastermind, and then work towards a goal. Work towards increasing your income. So many ways to do it now. It's 2024. Y'all over here telling me, the message I get is y'all over here telling me it's up to the government to give us band-bands or make it easier for us to get band-bands. They clearly got their own agenda, bro. So that being said, that being understood, it's up to us.
It becomes particularly threatening if terrorists ever get their hands on any nuclear material. So a man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
That line's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
it's a good one, though.
I would like to,
well describes the problem.
It's not an accurate one at all. It's not an accurate one. So I just want to give a lot of things, and just to respond, I agree with her on one thing. The single greatest problem the world has is nuclear armament, nuclear weapons, not global warming like you think and your president thinks. Nuclear is the single greatest threat. Just to go down the list, we defend Japan, we defend Germany, we defend South Korea, we defend Saudi Arabia, we defend countries. They do not pay us what they should be paying us because we are providing tremendous service and we're losing a fortune. That's why we're losing. We lose on everything. I say, who makes these? We lose on everything. Well, I said that it's very possible that if they don't pay a fair share, because this isn't 40 years ago where we could do what we're doing. We can't defend Japan, a behemoth selling us cars by the million.
We need to move on.
Wait, but it's very important. Listen. All I said was they may have to defend themselves or they have to help us out. We're a country that owes $20 trillion. They have to help us out. As far as the nuclear is concerned, I agree. It is the single greatest threat.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Y'all are free to make y'all opinion or choice on who y'all vote for, whatever candidate you feel like leads America in the direction you want America led in. Like, yeah, there's going to be policies that help us out as citizens, as taxpayers. Nobody's negating any of that. But like I said, all that aside, I do not care. I do not care, bro. If you want to make your not successful life into a successful one, it's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to you. And yeah, find some homies who are like-minded. Find some homies who are on the same path. People who want the same outcome, the same success for themselves and their family. Hop on the same train. Maybe hop on a business idea, business plan. It's not as hard as people make it out to be, right? I know a lot of times we lack direction, and I've been there in my own personal life. But formulate a plan. And it's not an overnight thing. But formulate a plan, bro. You can improve your situation. I ain't saying you're going to go from 0 to $1 million. It's not like that for everybody. Hear me out now. But you can get you an extra little $10, $50, $100 a week doing this or that. Odd jobs, side hustle, second job, investments. Come on, y'all.
Which leads my next question as we enter our last segment here still on the subject of securing America. On nuclear weapons, President Obama reportedly considered changing the nation's longstanding policy on first use. Do you support the current policy? Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes on that.
Well, I have to say that
I'm from Columbus, Ohio, from Dayton, Ohio, live in Columbus, Ohio, bro. This is shit that I'll go outside and say with my chest. Yeah, 6'1" black man. Ain't nobody, bro. And it ain't even about that. Beyond that, it's just like you can't refute the shit I'm saying. That's why you in here low-key getting salty with me.
For what Secretary Clinton was saying about nuclear with Russia, she's very cavalier in the way she talks about various countries. But Russia's been expanding. They have a much newer capability than we do. We have not been updating from the new standpoint. I looked the other night, I was seeing B-52s. They're old enough that your father, your grandfather could be flying them. We are not keeping up with other countries. I would like everybody to end it, just get rid of it. But I would certainly not do first strike. I think that once the nuclear alternative happens.
All right, man. Debate aside, detractors aside, Trump aside, Kamala aside, man. I don't care where y'all at, man. I don't care what y'all doing right now, man. Pause for the cause, man, because we appreciate the hell out of y'all here at S.E.T Media, man. We just hit 15,000 subscribers, man. 15K. Ah, man. Where my wine at? Where my wine at, man? I appreciate y'all, man. It's been quite the journey, man. If y'all new here, S.E.T Media, man, we've been at this thing for a little while now, a little over a year. It takes some time to get where you want to be. That's why I speak on these topics so passionately, knowing from personal experience, like you can change your situation. If you don't like where you're at, formulate a plan, work towards it every day. Slowly but surely, you'll see the improvement, right? So if you're in here right now and if you got a goal, if you're a hard worker, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're ambitious, Those are the people that we want to attract to the channel. Those are the people we want to join in on the army, man. Those are the people that we resonate with. You know, those are the people that I call like-minded to myself. So if you in here right now and you resonate with anything I'm saying, man, cheers to you. 15K. It wasn't easy, but things that come in life that are worth having aren't easy. So we appreciate y'all here, man. We appreciate y'all joining in on the journey. Like and share the video. Get some more folks in here. We're gonna keep going up, man. We ain't stopping now. We do it for y'all. The commitment is only an attestament to how we feel about y'all and how we feel about the message that we here to spread, the conversations that we here to host as well. So we appreciate everybody in here, man. Cheers to y'all. Damn.
It's over. At the same time, we have to be prepared. I can't take anything off the table because you look at some of these countries. You look at North Korea.
And shout out, we got a $5 super chat from Jazz Hands. Yes, sir. Our manufacturers have a hard compete with China's manufacturers because they barely pay their workers. 90% of Home Depot products are made in China. That is true. That is true. And a knock on China has always been they're human labor rights violators. Like, they don't give a damn. Like, they got suicide nets outside of their buildings because they work their workers almost literally to the brink of, yes, deleting themselves. China has never been somebody who cares about human worker rights or anything like that. Cheap labor, mass production, that's kind of made China the world power that they are today. Appreciate
We're
that.
doing nothing there. China should solve that problem for us. China should go into North Korea. China is totally powerful as it relates to North Korea. And by the way, another one powerful is the worst deal I think I've ever seen negotiated that you started is the Iran deal. Iran is one of their biggest trading partners. Iran has power over North Korea. And when they made that horrible deal with Iran, they should have included the fact that they do something with respect to North Korea, and they should have done something with respect to Yemen and all these other places.
Appreciate all the hard workers out there, man.
To Secretary Kerry, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you add other things into the deal?
All the people who have been told no and still persisted. Shit looked gray, but you made it colorful. Appreciate all those folks, man. Those are the people who we like here on S.E.T Media. We like everybody, but those are the people who I resonate with personally, bro. Shit ain't always easy. The message I'm spreading or the point I just made, I understand for a lot of y'all, it isn't something that you can easily swallow. And I think that's because a lot of us have been sold this lie that we're going to be handed out something that there should be somebody making an environment more easy for us. Like, no, a lot of times we're going to have to go out and take what we want. We're going to have to go out and make ourselves put ourselves in position to get what we want. It ain't gonna be handed to us. Shit, we competing for shit. The thing that you want is the thing that 100 other people want, and that's in any regard, in any facet. And you're always gonna have to compete. You're always gonna have to help yourself out, right? And that's just how it is. That's just the world we live in.
One of the great giveaways of all time, including $400 million in cash. Nobody's ever seen that before. That turned out to be wrong. It was actually $1.7 billion in cash. Obviously, I guess, for the hostages, it certainly looks that way. So you say to yourself, why didn't they make the right deal? This is one of the worst deals ever made by any country in history. The deal with Iran will lead to nuclear problems. All they have to do is sit back 10 years, and they don't have to do much, and they're going to end up getting nuclear. I met with Bibi Netanyahu the other day. Believe me, he is not a happy camper.
All right, Mrs. Clinton, Secretary Clinton, you have 2 minutes.
Let me start by saying words matter. Words matter when you run for president, and they really matter when you are president. And I want to reassure our allies in Japan and South Korea and elsewhere that we have mutual defense treaties and we will honor them. It is essential that America's word be good. And so I know that this campaign has caused some questioning and some worries on the part of many leaders across the globe. I've talked with a number of them, but I want to, on behalf of myself and I think on behalf of a majority of the American people say that, our word is good. It's also important that we look at the entire global situation. There's no doubt that we have other problems with Iran, but personally, I'd rather deal with the other problems having put that lid on their nuclear program than still to be facing that. And Donald never tells you what he would do. Would he have started a war? Would he have bombed Iran? If he's going to criticize a deal that has been very successful in giving us access to Iranian facilities that we never had before, then he should tell us what his alternative would be. But it's like his plan to defeat ISIS. He says it's a secret plan, but the only secret is that he has no plan. So we need to be more precise in how we talk about these issues. People around the world follow our presidential campaigns so closely, trying to get hints about what we will do. Can they rely on us? Are we going to lead the world with strength and in accordance with our values? That's what I intend to do. I intend to be a leader of our country that people can count on, both here at home and around the world, to make decisions that will further peace and prosperity, but also stand up to bullies, whether they're abroad or at home. We cannot let those who would try to destabilize the world, to interfere with American interests and security, to be given any opportunities at all.
Is expired.
Let's do one thing I'd like to say.
Very quickly.
I will go very quickly, but I will tell you that Hillary will tell you to go to her website and read all about how to defeat ISIS, which she could have defeated by never having it, get going in the first place. Right now, it's getting tougher and tougher to defeat them because they're in more and more places, more and more states, more and more nations.
Mr. Trump.
And it's a big problem. And as far as Japan is concerned, I want to help all of our allies. But we are losing billions and billions of dollars. We cannot be the policeman of the world. We cannot protect countries all over the world where they're not paying us what we need.
We have just a few final
She doesn't say that because she's got no business ability.
We need heart.
We need a lot of things, but you have to have some basic ability. And sadly, she doesn't have that. All of the things
he spoke on that last night, actually. It's so funny. Some of the parallels from 2016 to 2024, some of the things that haven't been addressed, some of the things that haven't been fixed, and these politicians are still able to campaign off of the same issues. It's hilarious. It's crazy to think, honestly.
He's talking about could have been taken care of during the last 10 years, let's say, while she had great power, but they weren't taken care of. And if she ever wins this race, they won't be taken care of.
Mr. Trump, this year, Secretary Clinton became the first woman nominated for president by a major party. Earlier this month, you said she doesn't have, quote, a presidential look. She's standing here right now. What did you mean by that?
She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And I don't believe she does have the stamina. To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
But yeah, Trump did say last night he was going to have these countries that have been using America for whatever they need us for. He's going to have them start paying up. And if not, bro, shit, you ain't going to get the help that you need from America. And I could, as being America first, I could stand side by side that policy. Like, yeah, shit. Why would we continue to let these countries essentially leech off of us when we're already being spread thin everywhere else? Immigration, proxies. Why would we continue to let these people use us and we not see any benefit from it? It's only draining the taxpayer, honestly.
Well,
you have, wait a minute, unless you asked me a question. Did you ask me a question? You have to be able to negotiate our trade deals. You have to be able to negotiate, that's right, with Japan, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, can you imagine we're defending Saudi Arabia and with all of the money they have, we're defending them and they're not paying. All you have to do is speak to them. Wait, you have so many different things you have to be able to do. And I don't believe that Hillary has the stamina.
Let's let her respond.
Well,
he ain't got the stamina.
As soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
The world, let me tell you, let me tell you. Hillary has experience, but it's bad experience. We have made so many bad deals during the last, so she's got experience, that I agree, but it's bad experience. Whether it's the Iran deal that you're so in love with, where we gave them $150 billion back, whether it's the Iran deal, whether it's anything you can name, you almost can't name a good deal. I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years of that kind of experience.
We are at the final question.
One thing, Lester, is, you know, he tried to switch from looks to stamina. But this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs. And someone who has said
to pull that out.
Pregnancy is an inconvenience to employers.
Wow.
Who has said women don't deserve equal pay unless they do as good a job as men. And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests, supporting them.
Am I tripping by agreeing with Trump on that point? If we're doing the same job and you're doing a lesser quality job than why would you deserve the same pay? Like, yeah, I don't care how sexist that sounds, and I'm not sexist at all. I'm not a misogynist either. But if it comes across as that, then so be it. Because, yeah, why would we be doing the same exact job? You're doing a lesser quality, or you're not able to stand up to the job specifications as well as I am, and we get the same pay? So essentially, I go home with the fucked up back, and you go home with a back intact, but we both get the same paycheck come Friday. Yeah, I can't stand with that.
Them and hanging around them. And he called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
men get maternity leave now, actually.
Machado.
Men in a lot of these major
become
corporations and
a
these bigger
U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good. Let me just tell you.
Mr. Trump, it'll take 10 seconds, and then we're going to have the final question.
Hillary is hitting me with tremendous commercials. Some of it's...
And maternity leave is actually where that pay gap stems from, because if women are taking 3 to 6 months off to raise, nourish, and birth a child, then that's kind of where some of that pay gap kind of comes in. They're not getting the same wages when they're on maternity leave. So you guys kind of got to, and I'm not here to demystify the maternal or the pay gap, because for a lot of you guys, you think it exists. And I mean, hey, what it is. But what I will tell you is there's reasons that it does, quote unquote, exist. Women aren't really, a lot of times they're not asking or negotiating for the same raises as men. And yes, maternal leave is another compounding factor as to why women wouldn't be getting the same pay when they take that time off throughout the year to raise and birth a child, you know, as they should be allowed to do. And we only support them for that. But that is one of the contributing factors.
Said in entertainment, some of it said somebody who's been very vicious to me, Rosie O'Donnell. I said very tough things to her, and I think everybody would agree that she deserves it, and nobody feels sorry for her. But you want to know the truth? I was going to say something extremely rough to Hillary, to her family, and I said to myself, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's inappropriate. It's not nice. But she spent hundreds of millions of dollars on negative ads on me, many of which are absolutely untrue. They're untrue and they're misrepresentations. And I will tell you this, Lester, it's not nice, and I don't deserve that. But it's certainly not a nice thing that she's done. It's hundreds of millions of ads, and the only gratifying thing is I saw the polls come in today, and with all of that money, over $200 million is spent. And I'm either winning or tied, and I've spent practically nothing.
One of you will not win this election. So my final question to you tonight, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters? Secretary Clinton?
No, exactly.
Well, I support our democracy. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I certainly will support the outcome of this election. And I know Donald's trying very hard to plant doubts about it, but I hope the people out there understand this election's really up to you. It's not about us so much as it is about you and your families and the kind of country and future you want. So I sure hope you will get out and vote as though your future depended on it, because I think it does.
Mr. Trump, very quickly, the same question. Will you accept the outcome as the will of the voters?
I want to make
They said
America
the same thing about him in 2016. Like, oh, if he doesn't win, he's not going to accept the outcome. Like, come on, man. Come on. Y'all been running with that same slogan for 8 years. It's tired.
Great again. We are a nation that is seriously troubled. We're losing our jobs. People are pouring into our country. The other day, we were deporting 800 people. And perhaps they passed the wrong button, they pressed the wrong button, or perhaps, worse than that, it was corruption. But these people that we were going to deport for good reason ended up becoming citizens. And it was 800, and now it turns out it might be 1,800, and they don't even know.
Will you accept
Look,
the outcome
here's the
of the
story.
election?
I want to make America great again. I'm going to be able to do it. I don't believe Hillary will. The answer is, if she wins, I will absolutely support her.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us. That concludes.
And who ended up winning?
Our
Trump 2024, baby. It's like, nah. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to scroll back, go over that 2016 debate between Trump and Hillary. It was really kind of a stark contrast to what we seen last night from Trump. He didn't really have that same level of charisma. He wasn't on attack as much, like as you kind of seen in this debate. It was kind of Trump's stage for real. He was on Hillary's ass. When the moderator tried to interrupt him, he was on his ass a little bit too. And the jokes were being thrown around, and he was more boisterous with it. He was a more commandeering with it. He just held control of the debate, and it was his night. And this 2016 debate versus last night, where, like I said, he took some L's. There were some points, and I'll just recap for y'all, for those of y'all who wasn't at the beginning of the stream. I didn't like how he didn't shake Kamala's hand. He's very gentlemanly any other time, so I think that was a bad look. It wasn't the best look for him, not shaking her hand. She literally came over to his side of the stage to shake his hand. That wasn't the look that we want to see from a leader. He misquoted the Springfield incident. It was really Canton, Ohio. It wasn't a Haitian immigrant. It was an Ohio native, Alexis Farrell. But yes, she did stomp out and kill a cat, so that was true. Shout out S.E.T for the background research. The story in Springfield, or out of Springfield, I should say, is actually that Haitian immigrants were in the park holding geese by their neck, and that is verifiable with police report. So he misspoke. He should have honed in on her a little bit harder on the immigration. Like it or not, her nickname has been the border czar, so he should have really kind of hung his hat on that, really drilled in on that point. He kind of let the mods team up on him. For those of y'all who say it was a 3v1, he allowed it to happen. In 2016, he would have had no parts of that. He would have silenced or halted any attempts of that even happening, right? And I just don't think they would have had the same success with that strategy in 2016. Yes, different network, ABC versus CBS, but in 2016, I just can't see Trump letting that go down like that. He allowed Kamala to even distract him at certain point in times. He had asked Kamala about immigration, and she was able to distract him with the sizes of his rallies. And he kind of took personal offense to that and actually ended up wasting his turn speaking about the rally sizes and how she can't do a rally his size and all that good stuff. I do think he had some wins, though. He did point out the fact that if all these issues are current and all these issues are ongoing, everybody notices them. You guys have the current administration. You guys got the key to the car. Kamala, Biden, why aren't y'all fixing them? Executive orders, whatever, what have you. He asked her if she's met with Putin. She said she's met with Zelensky 5 times. Never really rounded about to answering that, inferring that she really hasn't met with Putin. One might deduce that's kind of one might deduce that that's kind of part of the reason why we're in the situation we're in now with Russia and Ukraine. Like, okay, you met with Zelensky. Putin is not Zelensky. He's not a fan of Zelensky. Putin has the nukes. Putin is the major player. And you haven't met with this man? You haven't had a phone call with this man? Okay, yeah, that's probably a contributing factor why we're in the spot with Russia we're in now. I do like that he disavowed Project 2025 right on stage. We've debunked that right on stream before multiple times. It's on Project 2025's website, the Heritage Foundation, privatized, independent think tank. they operate solely of their own, and they're not affiliated or aligned with Trump or any major running politician right now. He disavowed his the proposed abortion ban. He is for abortion up to 6 weeks, and any abortion that stems from grape endangers the mother's health, and incest. He supports abortion in all those 3 cases, as well as wanting to overturn the decision and put it back in the hands of the states, relinquishing federal control over that, and I can support that move. He supports IVF. He said that he'd either have the government subsidize or insurance companies foot the bill. I can support that. Had a conversation with Tulsi Gabbard on that. I do think Kamala had some wins, though, as well. Earpiece aside, jokes aside, word salad aside, all that good stuff aside. She was able to hold her own in the format of 90 minutes. We haven't really seen too many long-form interviews, debates, or any of that thing, or any of the matter, or any of the sort, I should say, from Kamala. And she was able to hold her own on stage for 90 minutes. We might not love what she said, but she didn't get booed off the stage. So that was a win for her, a plus. Again, she was able to frustrate and detract Trump on certain points. There was a moment in time, again, moving back to the rally, or when he pointed the question of immigration on her and she was able to distract them with rallies, it frustrated him. You could see he was a little bit flustered. So she was almost trolling him, really, at that point. She even kind of looked at him and smiled with her hand on her chin. So that was good strategy, good play. And then even today, as I've made my rounds throughout the media and tuned into what a lot of these political pundits are saying, a lot of them agree with what my take is, and that wasn't necessarily a W from Trump last night. I wouldn't necessarily say he lost it. Polls have him up by a point or two, but it wasn't a overwhelming, dominating victory like it should have been for Trump. And Kamala showed well. She proved well, and she did well for herself and her campaign. Either way, I think that there should be a second debate. The first debate didn't really prove too much on either side. So I think a second debate would be a little bit more clear, would be a little bit more of a resounding victory for Kamala or for Trump heading into November. As we round out the stream here, we've been going for over 3 hours, y'all. Super chat in any thoughts, comments, questions, disagreements. I'm just giving my take. Y'all might not like it. Y'all might not love it. It is what it is. Super chat in any thoughts, comments, disagreements, jokes, even anything you want to get off your chest as we round out. $1 or more super chat. I'll read it off on screen. But yeah, ultimately, I think Trump still wins November. Come November, there was just some moments last night I would like to see him capitalize a little bit harder on. And that's kind of why we scrolled back the clock to the 2016 debate to kind of see him in his element a little bit more, in his prime, so to speak. He was on Hillary. Witty remarks, controlled the stage, controlled the debate for the most part. That's kind of what I wanted to see from Trump more so last night. I still think that he might have had the slight edge into last night's debate. I still think that he wins November ultimately, but there were some highlights for Kamala, and there were some points within the debate last night where I think Trump could have done a little bit better on. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go ahead and round this debate or this stream out. We'll be back later with more content for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight's stream. 15K. Another shout out to you guys. Really appreciate that. If you're just now getting in here on the journey with us, man, you're not too late. Subscribe to the channel, man. We're on a journey. Join the army. Happy to have you here. Like the video on the way out, man. It's S.E.T Media. You had Key in here, your favorite big four-headed YouTuber. Then knock my hat off. I'm going to sign out on this one, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in.